to scalp an opponent. The best rushing attack in the league, and the passing of Jay Schrader on a team that may go a long way. The Philadelphia story stars Randall Cunningham, a graceful quarterback who has matured into one of the game's most exciting players. With rookie Jerome Brown joining Reggie White up front, the Eagles' defense is coming with a force that feisty Buddy Ryan applauds. Remember Slingin' Sammy Baugh and the Dutchman, Norm Van Brocklin? Today, it'll be Jay Schrader for the Skins and Randall Cunningham for the Eagles as the rivalry continues. The Philadelphia Eagles know that this could be a very big day for them in their comeback in the National Football League as they tackle one of the high-flying teams in the league, the Washington Redskins, before a sellout crowd here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Ideal weather conditions, temperatures in the 60s, not much of a breeze, and sunny skies. The Redskins have won 5 in a row and have a lead in the division, but the Philadelphia Eagles, if you discount the replacement games, have won 3 out of 4, and they feel that they are definitely a team on the rise. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and the 100th renewal of this longtime rivalry should be a good one today if the Eagles live up to their billing. Now, if the Redskins play today the way they did against the Bills last week, forget about it. They were near perfect in beating Buffalo with the good ground game and the fine defense. How good are the Eagles? I think this is the kind of a game you will find out how far they've come. My partner is Terry Bradshaw, and what is your handle on the two clubs, Terry?
Oh, Joe Gibbs wants to come in and run power football. And that's Rodgers right, Rodgers left, Rodgers up the middle. He thinks he can do that and win. I disagree. I think they're going to have to throw the football down the field deep to beat this Eagle team. On the other side, one of the most exciting young players in the National Football League. Get this, Randall Cunningham, young third-year quarterback coming out. He's going to scramble right and left. Just absolutely drives. Defense is crazy, and the Skins are concerned about him today. If they win today, Cunningham running right and left and throwing on the go.
All right, Terry, and the Eagles have won the toss, and Steve Cox kicking the game underway, and it's rookie Bobby Morse at the 1-yard line for the Eagles. And on a reverse, Morse goes to Chris Carter from Ohio State, and Carter takes it out beyond the 25-yard line where he is stopped by Clarence Vaughn. Both coaches had indicated to us that there'll be a lot of razzle-dazzle in this game. They're not leaving anything to chance, and Randall Cunningham can be an explosive quarterback and has many dimensions. The defense for the Washington Redskins, very solid up front with Charles Mann and Dexter Manley at the ends. Dave Butts and Darrell Grant the tackles. Neil Olkowitz is starting as Rich Malott is shaken up with an ankle injury. Green and Wilburn are the corners. Walton and Bowles the safeties. 1st and 10 on the 28-yard line. And on the first play of the game, Anthony Toney, the fullback, is stopped for no gain. The rest of the offense for the Eagles, Keith Byers, who's been looking good at running back, starts with Toney. Mike Quick and Kenny Jackson, the wide receivers. Matt Darwin, Adam Schreiber, Jerry Feary, Ron Baker, and Joe Conwell are the offensive linemen, and John Spagnola, who is doubtful with a groin injury, is indeed starting. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Junior Tautalakasi, a good receiver, now in the backfield with Toney. And it's Tautalakasi trying to go outside. Monty Coleman chases him. And again, the Redskins with good pursuit will bring up a 3rd and long for the Philadelphia Eagles. That time it was Monty Coleman and Neil Olkowitz on the stop.
Monty Coleman making his presence felt automatically, Dick, here early, coming in first down on a blitz, and then that time taking into pursuit, getting outside and making the stop.
Greg Garrity, who was the hero with the winning touchdown catch against the Cardinals in the final minute, has come in the game as the wide receiver. Chris Carter also in there. 3rd down and 9 at the 29. Cunningham has some time, and he completes to Garrity. Good for a 1st down at the 40-yard line. A pickup of 11.
Thing you like like to do as a quarterback early in a football game is find the player that has single coverage. Obviously, if I were the Redskins, I'd single Garrity also. He's the slowest of the receivers, but that time he gets position on Walton and makes the first down.
In the opening game of the season, the Redskins beat the Eagles 34-24, but not after having to withstand an Eagle fight. First and 10 at the 40. Byers back in the game, number 41, and carries for the first time and gets nothing. Darrell Grant making the tackle. And Terry, while the Redskins have been able to run in the last week or so, they have always been able to stop the opposing team's rushing attack.
But they're so big up front. Grant and Butts are just too huge, 600 pounds of defensive linemen. And the thing that's happened automatically here is that the Eagles are coming out, Dick, and they're just going straight at the Redskins. And I don't think that they can play that way. I don't believe they can go man for man and blow the Redskins off the ball.
Second down and 10. Change in plans called by Cunningham on the audible. Byers Neil Olkewicz making the stop. There was a lot of talk in Washington this week, particularly by Mark Murphy, former player representative, about the fact that Neil Olkewicz, the player representative, has not regained his starting spot after being hurt in preseason. Rich Malott had the job, and Malott going out, Olkewicz coming in, and the defense had worked with Malott in the middle.
Coaches will not change a player even though he wasn't a starter if he takes over for an injured player, especially if he's playing well.
Marcus Cook and Steve Hamilton in for the added pass rush for the Redskins. 3rd and 9 at the 41. Cunningham in trouble. Gets away from man. And his pass is overthrown out of bounds, intended for Greg Garrity. Defending was Dennis Woodbury. We saw a glimpse of the Redskin pressure from Manley last week, and they stormed in on Randall Cunningham that time.
Well, one of the things that was impressive that time was that actually the pass rush route by the ends was wide. If Cunningham was going to run with the football, they wanted him to run up inside, and they had Butts and those guys waiting on him.
John Telchik, coming off his best game, averaging 51 last week, will be kicking, and Eric Yarber is deep for the Redskins. Yarber backs up to the 15. To the 21-22-yard line. That's all. Seth Joyner makes the special teams tackle for day in the Washington Redskins, and John Spagnola with him there. And now the man of the moment is Jay Schrader, who suffered a sprained right shoulder in the 5th offensive play of the opening game against the Eagles, so he didn't get a chance to play against them. 1st and 10 on the 23 for the Washington Redskins. Didier.
A timing pass. Hitch patterns are nothing but a timing route. That's excellent timing by Schrader and his receiver Didier, but the key was the break. The break that time by Andre Waters, 20, breaking on the ball. Doggone near should have been intercepted.
2nd down and 10. The 25-yard line, and Clyde Simmons, Seth Joyner, Mike Reichenbach, and Dwayne Giles are the linebackers. Roynell Young and Elbert Fowles man the corners, and Andre Waters and Terry Hogue are the safeties. 3rd down and 7, and that means Kelvin Bryan has come in the game. He scored a couple of touchdowns against Buffalo last week. Don Warren is in motion, and an inside blitz, and the ball is tipped away and nearly picked off. That time by Jerome Brown. They left the middle open, and they nearly got to Jay Schrader, and the crowd cheers the Eagle defense. take it away for the Skins.
In the nickel situation, Frizzell, number 33, William Frizzell, following Art Monk, made it look as though he had Monk man for man at the snap of the ball. He cut in off right tackle. No one there to block him. Got in Schrader's face, almost forced an interception.
Bobby Morse, the rookie from Michigan State, is back to receive the punt from Cox. Good kick by Steve. Hangs up high, and Morse inside the 25. Barely gets to the 30-yard line where Vernon Dean makes the stop. A 49-yard kick by Steve Cox. So each team has had a chance to handle the football, and we have no score here in the first quarter. Terry, what do the Eagles want to do offensively against Washington?
Well, they're going to try to run the football. We saw that in their first series, but they got nothing farther. I think in this second possession now, we're going to see Cunningham come out and throw the football. The tackles, that time Grant and Butts, are just sitting there paralleling the line of scrimmage, and they can't blow them off, so they're not rushing the passer. So look for him to open it up and throw the football now.
They're on the 29, 1st and 10. Byers and Tony in the backfield. First penalty of the ball game, and Cunningham goes right down, and another flag is down. And Cunningham might have been shaken up. Darrell Grant may have gotten in with a late hit, and that has upset several of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they haven't separated them yet. And Cunningham is shaken up. The backup quarterback is Matt Cavanaugh. 2 flags thrown. Referee is Fred Wyant.
Well, this is a rivalry that does not need.
Offsides, number 72, 5 yards.
The mic went dead, but it was Dexter Manley with a 5-yard offside penalty and Darrell Grant on the late hit.
Well, you'll see that the long cadence here by Cunningham draws Manley off. Now the play action. Now you're going to see Cunningham realizing he's sacked. He goes down. You can't touch him here. Now you can see 77, Darrell Grant, coming in and putting his head and shoulder on the quarterback. That's a no-no, and in some cases you might even see him get thrown out.
Matt Cavanaugh, former 49er and Patriot quarterback, is getting ready. They're still working on Randall Cunningham. And now Buddy Ryan is coming on the field to check with his quarterback to see whether he has to make a change here.
And you can bet, as you see Ryan pointing to Grant, you can bet that Ryan was saying a few words to Grant. Now he's talking to his players, trying to fire them up. And now listen to the crowd.
He was pointing right at Darrell Grant. Buddy Ryan, who likes his team right now. The days of his criticism of his ball club are gone. He told us on Friday he likes the people he has right now. He says, anytime I criticize the defense, I'll be criticizing myself in effect. Other than that, I like these boys.
Buddy Ryan has said at an early part when he came here, Dick, that he would take the heat and put all the heat on himself, but he expects his players now to rise up, and they should take the heat.
Matt Cavanaugh has come in at quarterback for the Eagles on a 1st and 10 at the 29 after the penalty. Byers slicing, doesn't get much, maybe a yard. And already tempers have flared in this game. And we're only in the opening minutes of this game. Dexter Manley and Neil Olkowitz make the tackle, and the cheers are for Randall Cunningham as he comes back to the game.
Anytime you have a rivalry, you can expect things of that nature. A late hit, even a small one or a big one, to fire everyone up, especially here in Philadelphia, because this is where they're playing.
2nd down and 8 at the 40-yard line. Tony, and the best rushing effort of the game for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's another penalty marker down, and Tony is stopped about 2 yards shy of a 1st down. Mel Kaufman makes the stop. Here's Fred Wyant.
Illegal block in the back, number 88.
John Spagnola, the veteran tight end, called for an illegal block, and maybe that's why Tony was able to get 6 yards. First penalty of the game against the Eagles. The Redskins were hit with a combined penalty of 15 yards, the 5-yard offside and then the 15-yard personal foul. But now the Eagles are set back to their 35-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 13 with nearly 5 minutes elapsed in the first quarter. No score between the Redskins and the Eagles. This is an important NFC East battle. They send Byers in motion. Cunningham out to Tony. Butts chasing him, is blocked out of the play, and Anthony Tony goes out of bounds. Alvin Walton made the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Excellent.
Worse.
Yes, excellent coverage that time by the secondary of the Washington Redskins. But another key factor was a play of Butts that time, the tackle just floating out into the screen area, forcing Cunningham to delay the timing of the screen, allowing everyone to come up and make the stop.
Chris Carter, who was taken on the 4th round of the supplemental draft by the Eagles out of Ohio State, caught a touchdown passes in his NFL debut last week, is in the ball game. Cunningham goes up the middle, and a great catch by Garrity at midfield. Woodbury makes the tackle, and the Eagles have another 1st down, and Garrity has caught both 3rd down catches.
They found something. They found that Garrity, 86, in the slot has got man-for-man coverage by Dennis Woodbury, 46. And all Cunningham is doing is simply taking the snap, dropping back, and throwing the ball to Garrity, who can seem right now he went outside the first time. Second time he came inside.
Original Pittsburgh Steeler, good hands. They call him trash. Anything you throw, even jump, he'll scoop it up. He made a good play there. 1st and 10 at midfield. Play action. Cunningham gets by Butts. And this is what the Redskins don't like at all. And Randall Cunningham is now racing for the end zone. One man to beat, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 5.
Cunningham doesn't like to do play action, and they don't want their young quarterback doing a lot of play action because he turns his back to the secondary. This time it is play action. He's forced out, and the thing I told you earlier, this is when he is his most dangerous. This is where he's comfortable, and that is putting the football under his arm and running with it.
Barry Wilburn and Darrell Green combined to make the stop.
Here's why Darrell Coleman told us. Monty Coleman, 51, says, I don't want to see him run with the football. He drives me crazy. Look at this, all the way across the field, and now the embarrassing part, he misses the tackle.
And the Eagles have called a timeout, a wise timeout with 8:54 to go in the first. So you get this close to scoring against the Redskins, you want to make sure you do. Run of Randall Cunningham's career, 45 yards, has set up a 1st and goal at the 5 for the Eagles. Tony, touchdown, Philadelphia. Anthony Tony, who fumbled on his first 2 carries in the opening game against the Redskins at RFK Stadium, has scored a touchdown to give the Eagles an early 6-0 lead with 8:50 remaining here in the first quarter.
Coming right at you, it's just a simple turnaround pitch to Tony in the backfield. Byers leading on a kick out, 2 tight ends to the right. As you can see, Byers doing a good job. And then there's Barry Wilburn, 45, as he cuts up inside of him and makes the touchdown.
Paul McFadden. Conversion is good. Eagles lead it 7-0. Anthony Tony, in his 2nd year out of Texas A&M. He wore a flak jacket in that opening game against the Redskins and wanted to redeem himself. He scored the big touchdown, but it was Cunningham who came back after getting knocked out for a play who made the big run. The Redskins had been impenetrable against the rushing offenses until that touchdown. So it is a 7-0 game in favor of Philadelphia.
One of the real problems now that Washington is going to have throughout the remaining part of this game is they're going to concentrate so heavily now on stopping Randall Cunningham from getting outside that it's automatically it'll slow down the pass rush, and now it'll allow Cunningham to set up in the pocket and throw the football down the field. If they do put pressure on him, once again, look for him to scramble.
You saw the drive, and it took 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Cunningham's 45-yarder on a scramble was the big play, but don't forget the 3rd and 11 when Greg Garrity caught a pass to keep the rally going for the Eagles. John Telchik will be kicking off now for Philadelphia. After the opening game of the season, Telchik replaced McFadden as the kickoff man, and deep for the Redskins is Keith Griffin. So Anthony Toney with his 2nd touchdown rushing of the season. Interesting to see how Joe Gibbs plays it now. Still trying to keep the ball on the ground, or whether he'll open it up a bit. Griffin in the end zone will let it bounce away for a touchback, and the Redskins will take over on the 20-yard line as the Redskin trainers work on Randall Cunningham's neck.
Well, the Eagle trainers, you would think that might be from the Darrell Grant hit, but actually when at the end of the run, the scramble a while ago, Cunningham lowered his left shoulder into the safety, and they're putting a little hot stuff on that thing, you know, cremagesic stuff, it's slop, and supposed to heat it up, make it feel better.
But Cunningham came back after one play, and now Jay Schrader brings out the Redskins, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And here's Rodgers, gets by a tackler, turns the corner, and they have 1st down yardage. Andre Waters finally makes the tackle on George Rodgers, who suffered a sprained right shoulder when he scored a touchdown against the Eagles in their first meeting, and was placed on the injured list.
Redskins came in that time, Dick, with 3 tight ends, with Didier in the backfield going in motion and actually playing like a running back, leading up inside for the counter trade, with Rodgers carrying off the right side where there were 3 tight ends.
2nd down and 1. Alonzo Johnson is now the right linebacker for the Eagles, replacing Dwayne Giles, who was shaken up. 1st down for Rodgers. Brings it out just shy of the 35-yard line. Reggie White making the tackle. Last week, the Redskins controlled the ball for nearly 41 minutes of their game against the Buffalo Bills. And Buddy Ryan doesn't think that they can run against the 46 defense.
Yes, that's what he said, but what he hasn't done so far is give them the 46 defense. They played a straight four-down lineman. They have not brought White in on the nose tackle and played the 46 defense so far.
Redskins with a 1st down on their own 35-yard line. 8 minutes to go, 1st quarter. And Schrader throws it away. Art Monk was the closest man to the ball. Terry Hogue was covering, and right now Jay Schrader has opened the game 0 for 3 in the passing department.
One of the keys last week for the St. Louis Cardinals passing attack was the 3-step drop for Lomax to get rid of the football. Coming into this game, the Redskins want to run the little 5-yard hitch and out and all of those things, but what's happening is that the Eagles are playing off their corners, and at the snap of the ball, running up and jamming them, taking it away from Schrader.
Art Monk's the only wide receiver in action, and he's out to the left, being watched by fouls. 2nd and 10, and a penalty marker. Raleigh McKenzie, the left guard, might have moved.
Number 63.
And it is McKenzie. So now Schrader will face a 2nd down and 15.
Well, McKenzie's on Jerome Brown, 99. It's the matchup that Washington wants, because they feel McKenzie is one of their better blockers. They would like to put him on the best lineman for the Eagles. Brown and McKenzie, good matchup. Maybe McKenzie that time says, oh, I've got to get the edge. I've got to come off a little quicker, and therefore gets the offsides.
That's been the strength of the Redskin offensive line, Jacoby and McKenzie on the left side. And Gary Clark is in the game as a wide receiver, and the Redskins know that they're thin in that department. Clark has a hamstring problem, and they were actually thinking of making him inactive for this game and activating Anthony Allen, but they've stuck with Clark.
Well, Clark's got it. It's really not a hamstring. It's the tendon, Dick, that ties into the back of the knee that's inflamed. And what's happened is that Clark's had this now for 2 years, and it's something that he didn't practice all week. But Schrader told us last night that, hey, this guy missed 8 games last week of practicing but played in the game.
officials and Fred Wyant over there conferring with Joe Gibbs about something. I wonder if there's a headset problem. And if there is, that means the Eagles have to remove their headset as well. We're not sure of that. Whatever it is, it's not serious, as you can tell by Fred Wyant's expression.
Buddy's not laughing.
Doesn't laugh often.
That sure doesn't.
Second down and 15. Eagles defending against the Redskins. Washington's 29. Design rollout, has a lot of time, and he drills wide open is Gary Clark, and he overthrows him, and he was indeed wide open. Roynell Young was the closest defender, if you want to call him that, on that play. And it'll go as an incompleted pass. Third down coming up.
First time, as you can see, Reggie White, 92, over the center. This is the 46 defense that Ryan has made so famous in Chicago. Schrader getting outside of the pocket, disrupts the coverage, finds Clark wide open, and just simply overthrows him.
Clark still the top receiver on this club. Cedric Brown and William Frizzell have come in. 7 defensive backs in there for the Eagles. That's their nickel package on 3rd and 15. Schrader's pass is caught this time by Clark. Good enough for a first down on the Washington 45-yard line, and the tackle is made by Elbert Fowles, and a gain of 16. And there's another fight happening on the other side of the field. And Wyant and his crew are going to have their hands full in this one. The Redskin headset went out, and that was why the officials consulted with the coaches. So both teams not using the headset right now. 1st and 10 for the Redskins on their own 45-yard line. Mike Pitts coming to the sideline. Former Atlanta Falcon. 2 tight ends. Warren and Caravello for the Redskins. Here's Rodgers off the right side, gets a good hole. George Rodgers gets into Eagle territory, has a first down, a pickup of 11 to the 44-yard line, where the middle linebacker Mike Reichenbach finally brought him down.
To the right of your screen, you'll see both the left guard McKenzie and left tackle Jacoby, and the famed counter gap play run by the Redskins. As long as the Eagles stay out of the 46, this is the first time we've seen the counter gap, that we'll see this play 20 to 30 times today. Used to be counter tray, used to be bullets, but now we found out it's counter gap.
I think they change it every year.
Change it every week, I think.
1st and 10 at the 44, play action. Didier open downfield, good pressure, and Rodgers drops the ball on the short pattern. Didier was open down the field, but a good rush by the Eagles forced Schrader to go to his right, and it'll be 2nd down. Are you surprised that we haven't seen much of the 46 so far from Philadelphia?
We've only seen it one time, and that was when they expected him to throw the football. I think what Ryan would like to do, if he gets into the 46, he's putting his corners man for man, and therefore what will happen is Schrader will drop back and bombs away. I think he's hoping they can play him with the straight 4-3 and stop him.
Melvin Bryant in the ball game. Schrader getting rushed, gets it away, and it's caught by Bryant, and Bryant may have another first down for the Redskins. Reichenbach makes the tackle. Reggie White put good pressure on Jay Schrader.
End zone, as you can see, the 46. Look at 92, Reggie White pulling the center to the left. Now that is the 46 when you see him over the center, but the thing you mustn't forget about is that Schrader has that ability to get outside when he feels pressure and to throw the football on the run. All right, Reggie White, 92, notice it right over the middle. Thielman, 69, trying to help out the center, but too late. Schrader gets rid of the football, first down.
Bryant stays in the game, first down. Normally it's Rodgers, but Bryant stays in there at 1st and 10 on the 33 of the Eagles. 7-0 Philadelphia, fake reverse, and Kelvin Bryant gets inside the 30 and gets clobbered at the 20-yard line, and another first down. Seth Joyner and Roydell Young both hit him.
Well, last week against Buffalo, we saw Monk on 3 reverses. So what happened? They said, well, they're going to take the Monk reverse away, so we'll fake it to Monk and then let Kelvin Bryant keep it. Now this is excellent running as he makes Files 29. He makes him miss and then down to the 20-yard line for the first down.
On the 20-yard line, Redskins with Rogers back in there and Caravello, the up tight end blocker, and blocking for Rogers, and that time George doesn't get much as he is brought down at the 17-yard line by Seth Joyner. An aggressive Eagle defense, and we've been talking about that, and that was Buddy Ryan's #1 priority. He's got White and Brown up front, and Joyner has become a pretty good outside linebacker for him.
Seth Joyner is a very talented linebacker. He's totally opposite of Giles. Giles is a straight-up guy, looks good in his uniform and runs well, but when you break off of Giles, he can't cover. Joyner has all the athletic skills.
2nd down and 8. The ball at the Eagles' 18. Bryant gets a first down and gets to about the 6-yard line and knocked out of bounds that time. Roydell Young and Terry Hogue both defending, but another Washington first down.
Version of the 46 without White over the nose tackle this time. 74 Pitts coming in, another counter action, but just excellent running by Bryant. There's the hole to the outside, cuts back inside, high steps it for the first down.
Kelvin Bryant has gained 25 yards on 2 carries during this drive, and the 12th play is upcoming. 1st and goal at the 5. Redskins trying to tie this game, trailing 7-0. And Rogers barrels inside the 5 to about the 3. Mike Pitts on the stop. The clock running here in the first quarter.
It's awful hard to go up inside of Brown 99 and Clark 71, the 2 tackles. But you'll see Washington try to do that. As Gibbs stated earlier, we want to do the power running. But I right now would like to see something with Didier in motion, come out play action, get outside with Schrader, who has that great athletic skills, and do play action pass and find the tight end crossing in the corner of the end zone.
2nd and goal on the 3, and Reggie Branch has come in. Short yardage blocker for the Redskins. It's Rogers, and he's in for the touchdown. Straight ahead, simple blocking play, and Rogers with his 2nd touchdown rushing for the Redskins. A good block from McKenzie at left guard, and it's now 7-6.
Well, it's going to come right at you. Didier in motion, right of your screen, he kicks out, and now Clark coming down inside, following his guard. There's Tillman, 69, leads the way, and Rogers gets in.
And if you want ball control, and that's what Joe Gibbs demands, he got it on that series. Ali Haji Sheikh will attempt to tie the game with Jay Schrader holding with 3:41 remaining in the first quarter. And the kick is good, and we're all even at 7 apiece. So the Redskins, with a 6-1 start, matching the best ever under Joe Gibbs, have come back to tie the Eagles here in the first quarter. Scoring drive, and Terry, they took the crowd out of that in a hurry, didn't they?
That's a counter punch. Philadelphia goes down and scores. They're at home. The crowd is up. The players are fired up. They're the upstart team. And then the Washington Redskins, with all the real class and the maturity of a seasoned team, coming down and answering that call. Boy, they really took the crowd out of the game right there.
7-7. Morse is back, and Cox puts his foot to the ball. And a line drive, 1 hopper taken by Cedric Brown. And Brown fights his way to the 23. And right now, for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Well, Dick, the Packers are doing a good job against Chicago. Randy Wright, under pressure, gets it off to his tight end, Ed West. 27 yards for the score. Deadlocked at 7, and the Packers are challenging again. Back to Dick.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. And, of course, Washington supporters looking closely at the Bears today because they also have a 6-1 record. They look down the road for home field advantage. 1st and 10 at the 23 for the Eagles in a tie game. Cunningham is trapped. Man chases him, and the pass is caught by Byers at the 34-yard line. Good for a 1st down. Alvin Walton on the stop, but a tough catch by Keith Byers.
Excellent catch, because Byers is a runner. Notice how they're doubling teaming Manley on the outside. Notice this, coming up with Schreiber and Darwin, 78 and 76, making sure that Randall Cunningham has plenty of time to throw. And the key here is that Manley is to the blind side of the quarterback, so that's the reason they double team.
Gain of 11 on that play. And now we have a whistle and a stoppage of play. The foggiest idea.
Buddy Ryan doesn't know.
But now they're ready to play. 1st and 10 Eagles on their own 35, and right up the middle, Anthony Toney, and he carried a few defenders close to the 40-yard line. He showed some good power there. Got nearly 5 yards that time. Darrell Grant and Neil Olkowitz on the stop.
One of the things when you talk to Philadelphia, everything that circles around is balance. We want a balanced attack. With Cunningham, he throws everything out of balance. And what you're seeing now is they've gotten away from running on 1st down. Scrambling and throwing on 1st down has now opened up a running attack.
Pass setting up the run. 2nd down and 5. And there's Toney. Coleman helps in and makes the tackle. Olkowitz hit him first, and the Eagles are short by about 3.5 yards on the play. But the Eagles have really struggled. In fact, Buddy Ryan was saying, he says, in my 2 years here, I think there's been only one game that I've been happy with the rushing attack.
He wants the rushing attack. Of course, when he was in Chicago with Peyton, he was spoiled by the greatest running back ever to play this game. And he had a great quarterback in McMahon, and this Randall Cunningham is answering that. And they're hoping that Byers and Toney are the combination of running backs that he needs to win and get this team to the Super Bowl.
And we see how tough the Redskins are at stopping the run. 3rd down and 2. Walton coming in, and the pass incomplete, intended for Mike Quick. Darrell Green covering on the play, but the man who really made it go was Alvin Walton, who came in with a safety blitz on the blind side.
Coming from the top left of your screen, outside of this man, coming inside, just a straight, simple blitz, 8-man front. Cunningham coming out. When he turns his back in play action, there's no way that he can pick this blitz up. Had he dropped back, he would have been able to see it and gotten rid of the football a lot sooner.
John Telchik, with a good kick the first time around, will be booting to Eric Yarber.
Come on! Let's go! Let's go!
We have 2:05 remaining in the first quarter. We're tied at 7. Anthony Toney with a 5-yard run to give the Eagles a lead, and then Rodgers went over from 3 yards to tie the game. Booming punt by Telchik, and Yarber, looking up in the sun, dives forward at the 22. Dave Little makes the stop on that play. 38-yard kick. As you look at the Philadelphia Eagles bench, they're looking for their 3rd victory in a row for the first time in 2 years. Last week, the offense did the job, but he was not pleased with the emotion of the defensive unit.
Well, that's what he said. He said, we have enough emotion stored up now that we should go out today, defensively that is, and play with an abundance of emotion, since we didn't use any of it against St. Louis.
Well, the Redskins quieted the crowd with their 13-play scoring drive the last time. Right now, the crowd is in neutral. 1st and 10 at the 22. Schrader going deep to Didier. He's open and overthrows it. Didier was chased by Seth Joyner and Andre Waters. Didier returned to the starting lineup last week primarily as a blocker.
Well, Jay Schrader can't be happy with himself. I, as a quarterback, know what it's like. Very rarely do you get in a first quarter two receivers wide open for touchdowns. And so far, he's missed both of them, and his confidence, it has to come down. So now he's got to hit a big one to get it back up. This guy is the best long ball thrower in the National Football League.
Schrader is 2 for 8 for 27 yards. Neither offense has really established any kind of momentum. Capacity crowd here at Veterans Stadium waiting and watches. Schrader's pass overthrown to Art Monk. Roynell Young covering on the play. And it'll be 3rd down, and right now Jay Schrader is struggling.
When it goes bad, it goes bad. And in the early part of a football game as a young quarterback, things have to happen good for you to feel good about yourself. And this kid can make it happen, but nothing's going good for him. And it will be a carryover until something big, and it won't be a 5-yarder. It'll be a 50-yarder that gets him out of it.
It's a passing down, but you're right. The Redskins have gone to the pass, more to the rush on this series. Kelvin Bryant is in the game now as a receiver. Schrader's pass to Monk, covered by Roynell Young, incomplete, and it'll be 4th down. So Roynell Young, one of the best, and he was the top defensive player on the Eagles last year, defending the equally tough Art Monk, and it'll be 4th down, and Steve Cox will come in and punt again for the Redskins. Bobby Morse goes back for the Eagles. On the clock, we have 1 minute and 39 seconds to go in the first quarter of a 7-7 game. Good field position, and he does, as he is stopped on the Eagle 47 by Vernon Dean, a 39-yard kick. So the Eagles have the ball in a pretty good spot as they try to take the lead over the Washington Redskins. Two years ago, the last time that the Eagles had won 3 straight games, and they're aware that their next 2 games are against division opponents, the Giants and the Cardinals, here at Veterans Stadium. But this is their big one. 1st and 10. Philadelphia on their own 47. And it's Tony diving forward close to midfield. Gets to the 49, a pickup of 2 yards. Making the tackle was Neil Olkowitz. Suffered the knee injury in the preseason opener. When people were clamoring for his return, Joe Gibbs said, "Don't worry, he'll play. He'll see his action." That was before Malott suffered that ankle injury. 2nd down and 8. And here is a fake reverse. Byers chased by Mann. That play just flat out didn't work as Kaufman and Mann combined to stop Byers, and a loss on the play. Back to the 45.
Washington is not a good team to run reverses on. Mann and Manley, 2 defensive ends, do an outstanding job of getting up the field and containing. And also the linebackers for Washington are a contained-oriented linebacking core, forcing the secondary to make the hits. So this is not a good team to run reverses on, because simply put, no one is chasing.
Loss of 5. It'll be 3rd down and 13. Eagles on their own 44. Garrity is in the game. Morrison and Woodbury, the extra cornerbacks. Garrity has caught 2 passes. Here comes pressure on Cunningham, and he's going to go deep. And it's Chris Carter, who was covered by Morrison downfield, bowls to help. Incomplete to Chris Carter, and before long, you're going to see Carter, I think, in the starting lineup of this team.
Well, you will. And I was extremely impressed that time with Randall Cunningham as he tried to go to Garrity on the slot, going on the outside. But what Washington did was bring 2 safeties in to cover double Garrity, and therefore Carter was single covered, and Randall Cunningham saw it and went to him.
Yarber is back, and Telchik will kick. No wonder they double Garrity after 2 clutch 3rd down catches.
Can you imagine Garrity putting the fear into your heart?
Off the side of the foot, but it stays in bounds and now goes out at the 22-yard line. So Telchik not happy with the way he hit that ball. 34 yards was the kick. And we have less than a minute to go, 31 seconds in the first quarter. And the Redskins will go on attack again.
Very important drive for Schrader. Very important that he gets some consistency going here with his passing. He's had guys open, especially when he's been on the run, so I expect him to do some of the same. If we see the 46, look for Schrader to get outside and throw deep again on the run.
Skins on their own 23. 7-7 the score. And Rodgers gets hit once, second time for good. Play made by Dwayne Giles at the 22-yard line. No gain on the play.
All right, the 46, as you can, this is White, that's Clark, that's Brown. They come inside and outside. You got linebacker, 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 all coming in like this. There's 8 people up there, and there's no place to run the football. This is what Ryan hopes the 46 will accomplish, and that is stopping the run. That time it was successful.
And there's the gun ending the first quarter here at Veterans Stadium. The Redskins and the Eagles all even.
Many had written them off, but now the Cowboys boast playoff hopes, and so do the Patriots. A collision next Sunday on CBS Sports.
For Sam Huff, it started here in Farmington, West Virginia. His father worked in the coal mines, but Sam's dream was to play football, and play it he did. One of the greatest linebackers to ever play the game, he topped off his career with the Washington Redskins, and in 1982, he was inducted into Pro Football's Hall of Fame.
It's only a dream at first, but to a special few, it's the ultimate honor. It was the most exciting moment of my life. I'm Sam Huff, and here today in Washington, we're celebrating the greatest day in the life of an organization. The United Way has served America for 100 years, and this centennial celebration salutes the United Way and the thousands of volunteers gathered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. On behalf of the Washington Redskins and all the volunteers of the NFL family, we would like to salute the United Way. The United Way. It brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Liberty Mutual. For your personal insurance, business insurance, and financial service needs. Honda, maker of the new Civic 4-door sedans. And by Tandy Computers, because there is no better value, only at Radio Shack.
This is Dick Stockton along with Terry Bradshaw at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia on a beautiful Sunday. And a sellout crowd on hand, and the Redskins and Eagles are all tied 7-7 as we start the second quarter. Washington with the ball. It'll be 2nd down and 10 on their 22-yard line. So far, their balance has been perfect between the run and the pass. 10 plays each. Rodgers, Caravello blocking in front. Coming in to make the play is Clyde Simmons. Blocked a field goal 2 weeks in a row. He has become a player. Time of possession is so crucial to Joe Gibbs and what the Redskins want to do, and the numbers will show that the Eagles more than held their own in the first quarter.
Well, 7:04, 7:56 tells you that Washington is in fact doing what they want to do, but Philadelphia is doing more than they want to do. They're not having to rely on the pass. They're able to run.
3rd down and 9. And here comes pressure on Schrader, and the pass is intercepted by Jerome Brown.
You can see there's the pressure by White as he goes around the center and gets in Schrader's face, forces him to unload the football, and waiting for it was Brown, 99. Reggie White, you have to be concerned about him. The thing he does best is rush the passer. He's over the center in the 46. He takes his right hand, pushes on the center, goes around, and knocks the center into Tillman, gets by him, and is automatically in the face of Schrader.
1st and 10 at the 17-yard line for the Eagles with a golden opportunity here. Cunningham going for Jackson, and it's overthrown, covered by Barry Wilburn on the play, and it'll be 2nd down. So Jay Schrader with only his 2nd interception of the year and the first turnover of this game. And the Eagles with a great opportunity a minute into this 2nd quarter.
Washington coming out on 1st down and blitzing. We haven't seen them blitz all day long. They came out that time and blitzed Cunningham. Didn't allow him time to pick up his secondary receiver. Had he had the time, he would have seen Byers wide open in the end zone.
This time they put Jackson and Quick out to the left side. Spun around by Monty Coleman and out of bounds at the 13-yard line. A pickup of 4 yards that time. Anthony Toney, a fullback, but an unusual role for Toney.
Well, Toney is he plays fullback for the Eagles, but he's actually smaller. He's actually smaller than Byers. And also, he's a fullback that has the ability to run option routes on the linebackers. He comes out of the backfield from the fullback position and catches passes. Very unusual for a fullback to do that.
Greg Garrity comes in as the 3rd wide receiver for the Eagles on 3rd down and 6 at the 13. Shotgun. Cunningham runs up the middle. Is close to a 1st down, maybe shy by about 1.5 yards. Todd Bowles, and there you see how short Cunningham is. Todd Bowles made the stop.
Randall Cunningham with the running ability, you have to respect it. Excellent call by the coaching staff that shows pass, sets up, and when he sets up, the linebackers drop back deep into their coverage and then allows Cunningham to get up and almost make the 1st down. Not a very big guy, so I'm surprised that they use running plays designed for him just to run the football. He scrambles enough on his own.
The Eagles have called their 2nd timeout of this 1st half. And both timeouts have come when they were threatening inside the 10-yard line of the Redskins. There's the time remaining, and Philadelphia has 1 left. And the man who made the stop and prevented the 1st down was Todd Bowles, the free safety who played his college ball right here in Philadelphia at Temple University.
Now, question everyone is asking, should they go for it or should they not? Here's how I answer that. If those offensive players on that football field want to go for it, then the coach should let them go for it because, number one, they believe they can make it, and that's all that you need to know.
Terry, how often would offensive players say, no, I don't think we can make it, let's go for field goal?
I don't think ever. I think they always believe it. But you can tell, you can say, Coach, let's go for it. And you can say, Coach, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Everybody says, let's go for it. You can show, there's 2 ways to say it.
Well, as a coach, how do you know whether they're just saying it because it's automatic?
Well, when they're pulling your hair and grabbing your face and hitting you, kicking you, you say, well, all right, boys, go ahead and go for it. And that's what they're doing.
Jimmy Giles is in the game as an extra tight end. It's 4th down and goal at the 4th and 2, we should say. 4th down and 2. And on a reverse, and a fake pass, wide open, and out of the end zone, incomplete. Bobby Morse, they faked a handoff, they faked a reverse, and Bobby Morse just couldn't stay in bounds, and Dave Butts put great pressure on Cunningham.
The key is by the guards, but you can see Dave Butts paid no attention to the guard pulling. He just disregarded the guard and went straight for the quarterback and forced him to overthrow his man. See, those tackles have reads, and when those guards pull, the tackles normally chase down, but Butts that time, he said, forget that guard, and he went straight up the field and got into Cunningham's face.
So the Redskins take over on downs. And we'll come back. Second guessing is pretty easy to do, 20/20 hindsight. But the Eagles missed the chance to get 3, but now the Redskins start from their own 8-yard line.
I like the call. Nothing wrong with the call. Just good defense by Butts.
Off the right side, gets maybe a yard. Reggie White.
Now you're seeing Philadelphia go exclusively to the 46. Reggie White over the center once again, coming inside, destroying the guard, pushing Tillman off, and then playing back across his block and making the sack. Well, making the tackle. can sense the confidence now that the Eagle defense is getting in the 46. Look for him to stay in it.
Well, Buddy Ryan has confidence in his defense. Jerome Brown picked one off. Eagles had the ball on the 17th, couldn't score. Now it's 2nd and 11 on the 7. Kelvin Bryant in there for the Redskins. And here's Bryant. And Bryant breaks a couple of tackles and will have a first down shy of the 20-yard line. Reggie White on the tackle. And now for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, Dick, the Bears will have to come from behind again. It is Brent Fullwood going in from the 2, and the Packers lead the Bears 14-7 in the second quarter. Back to Dick.
So a surprise at Lambeau Field, and this game somewhat of a surprise too. Redskins at 6-1, locked in a tie game, but a first down on Bryant's run. Rodgers back in the lineup. And George off the left side. Doesn't get much, and right now the Eagles, other than Bryant's run, effectively halting the running game. We're at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Dick Stockton and Terry Bradshaw, the 100th revival of this long-time rivalry. And we showed you Slingin' Sammy Baugh and Norm Van Brocklin. Of course, there have been a lot others. There have been Norm Snead, who played for both teams, and Sonny Jurgensen, who also played for both the Redskins and Eagles over the years.
I've met Sonny Jurgensen. I've never met Slingin' Sammy. I'd love to.
2nd and 8. Art Monk goes the other way. Schrader's quick pass is incomplete. Terry, let me ask you something.
The only problem was that Monk came back to the inside. So either blocks or he blitz controls.
Schrader now is 0 for 5 with an interception. He is ice cold right now and faces a 3rd down and 9 at the 21. And nearly Ken Clark almost picked off another one. And he would have sailed into the end zone. And Schrader really struggling now. It'll be 4th down, and the Eagles' defense holds. Could have been disaster.
As you can see, 71 Clark coming up to the outside. They had an 8-man rush on that time. Clark gets through, no one there. As you can see, the screen was intended for 85, Don Warren, but Clark cut in front of Warren and almost made the interception.
Schrader now 2 for 13 for 27 yards and an interception. Steve Cox kicking to Bobby Morse. Kick is blocked. And it's out of bounds. Reggie Singletary got a hand on it, blocked the punt. And right now the Eagles defense is making it happen in a tie ball game against the Washington Redskins.
Nothing fancy about this is Singletary, number 68, just comes up the middle. Actually, the center turned him loose and the up back turned him loose. And he said, look what I have. I've got a blocked punt. Up back that time should have taken Singletary on and prevented it. Once again, Cox with plenty of time to punt, he thinks. But this up back, the guy that's in front of him that's there to protect him, let his man through.
11:06 remaining in the first half. And now the Eagles again in Redskin territory at the 30-yard line. 1st and 10. Cunningham steps up and going for Kenny Jackson, and it's picked off by the Redskins, and Barry Wilburn has the interception, his 5th of the year, and he now has the NFL lead with a big one in the end zone intended for Jackson.
Well, one of the routes that the Eagles wanted to run outside with Jackson 81 was the corner. He'll come down, drive to the inside to the post, turn Wilburn around, and then go back to the outside. Now, this is a poor route by Jackson. He knew that Wilburn was underneath him. He should have come underneath Wilburn and given Cunningham a nice target.
5 interceptions on the year for Barry Wilburn, and it's Redskins ball. Back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, tied at 7-7. All the scoring so far coming in the first quarter. Well, the Eagles right now are not cashing in on good opportunities, Terry. They had the interception by Jerome Brown, and they couldn't cash in there. They went for it on 4th down and failed on the incomplete pass. Then they blocked the punt, Singletary, and then the interception. So they've gotten close, and sooner or later that can come back and haunt you.
That's true. The opportunities are there, and for a young team, you have to cash them in. The 4th down, you know, we all agree with. The last pass was really not Cunningham's fault, although he shouldn't have thrown it. It was a poorly run route.
So it's Redskins again on the 20. To throw on 1st down. Downfield is Didier, and he's double covered that time by Terry Hogue and Roynell Young. Story of our game thus far, Randall Cunningham, 50 yards rushing. Of course, a big 45-yard run set up the opening touchdown for the Eagles. Schrader really has struggled, including an interception. And the Redskins' time of possession is not something to brag about, considering that they had the ball for 41 minutes against Buffalo last week. And why has Schrader been struggling? And he has missed his last 7 passes of the ball game.
Combination of pressure, multiple defenses, people in his face. He's not sure of himself right now, and that's the reason he's struggling.
2nd and 10 at the 20. Thielman had a hand on the pressure, and the pass intended for Gary Clark incomplete. Now for an NFL Today report, here's Brent Musburger.
Well, Dick, Ray Perkins continues to do an outstanding job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. DeBerg here with the short scoring pass to Carter. And Tampa in St. Louis leading the Cardinals by 14. Let's go back to Dick.
Thank you very much, Brent. Schrader really in a drought. Faces a 3rd and 10 at the 20-yard line with 10:45 to go in the first half. Lately, the Redskins haven't been able to run, and they're struggling. Lost his footing going back, and the pass is caught by Kelvin Bryant for a 1st down and out of bounds. Andre Waters making the tackle, and a gain of 17 yards will bring it out to the 37-yard line. So offensively, not much to speak about, except maybe for Kelvin Bryant thus far.
Kelvin Bryant's a back. They want to rush the ball about 15 times a game, and they want to get him the pass, get him the ball by the pass about 6 to 8 times. It's an option route, meaning that Bryant comes down, picks up the guy that's on him, and either goes inside or outside. Schrader reads it and gets him the football in good fashion that time.
So Bryant has been effective on the ground and as a pass receiver. Ricky Sanders has come in as a 3rd wide receiver at 1st down for the Skins on their own 37. Sanders with the best speed of all of the Washington receivers. Schrader finds Clark, and Clark gets away from a defender and nearly got away all the way. A 1st down into Philadelphia territory at the 44. Good for 19 yards with Terry Hogue, the free safety, finally making the tackle.
Earlier in the game, we saw the quick hitch 5-yard turnaround. Now you're seeing one receiver come inside, which is Monk. He drags the coverage with him, and then Clark breaks out, and Schrader fires the ball to him. Excellent catch and run by Clark. Can't do it one way, you come back and you do it the other. When they stop the other, you come back and do it the way you started off.
Elbert Fowles missed the tackle, so Clark with the big play. Now Didier is split out wide to the top of your screen. 1st and 10 on the Philadelphia 44. And the pass intended for Clark. Out of bounds and incomplete. Fowles was covering on the play. Schrader has gone to the air now, Terry, and George Rogers, as we said, 125 yards last week. Rogers, however, has gained only 5 yards the last 6 times he has run the ball.
Well, now you can really see what the offensive game plan is as this game moved on. It started out with the run, but now you see it focused primarily on the passing attack, as they believe truly that they'll win this game with Schrader throwing the ball.
That's not Gibbs' system, though, is it?
No, it is not. Now, if you look at last week's game when they rushed for 299 yards against Buffalo.
2nd and 10. Rogers, as a receiver, held on to it and is out of bounds at the 37-yard line, knocked away by Alonzo Johnson, short of a 1st down by a couple of yards.
One of the things that Schrader has been, well, if he's ever been really at fault for anything, it's having too strong an arm. And even I've said that his strong arm is something that gets him in trouble because strong-arm quarterbacks don't like to throw short. They're not that accurate at it. But here early in this drive, we've seen 2 real nice short passes that are right on the money.
it's Art Monk down the middle. And Art Monk is stopped on a shoestring tackle at the 20-yard line by William Frizzell. It's taken a while for Art Monk to get untracked this year.
83 Sanders driving his man off, Royale Young. Now you're going to see Monk in the center of your screen take his man outside, then cut back inside on that little motion across, take him out, back inside, beats him, makes the completion.
First catch of the game for Art Monk, good for 18 yards. He admitted to us yesterday that the strike affected him a great deal. He really hasn't been concentrating as well. Worked on it this week. First and 10, Redskins threatening on the 19, and easy touchdown to Art Monk as the defense had a mix-up in the secondary, and Art Monk catches a pass, 19 yards for the touchdown, and the Redskins lead it 13-7.
You can credit Schrader with this touchdown. As he comes out, he will look to Didier on the right side of the screen, sets his feet, pumps, and now he turns around. Notice the strong safety and linebackers. They go over to cover Didier, turn around, Monk gets in behind him for the touchdown. Beautiful job by the quarterback, Schrader.
And for Art Monk, that's his 4th touchdown reception of the season. And Ali Haji Sheikh will attempt to give the Redskins a 14-7 lead. He does, with 8:56 remaining. So it's been kind of a bittersweet year for Art Monk with the strike and all, but he's caught the big one to give Washington the lead. Well, the last time the Redskins scored, 58 of the 80 yards were on the ground. All 80 yards on this drive were through the air as Schrader trying to get back the rhythm with a touchdown pass to Art Monk, and Steve Cox kicking now to Bobby Morse with a 14-7 game. Washington leading. Morris at the 5-yard line. And Morris is brought back to the 5, and Dennis Woodbury with a great special teams hit. Well, you know that song? That's the Notre Dame fight song. And next Saturday on CBS College Football, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame come from behind victory over Boston College yesterday. They were down by 13 points. Timmy Brown, the Heisman candidate, take on Alabama.
Alabama, they beat LSU last night 22-10. Bobby Humphrey, boy, you talk about a great running back, 161 yards and a TD. Ought to be a classic.
All right. Alabama and Notre Dame. On the 5-yard line, first down, Anthony Toney carries for the Eagles.
Fight songs, huh? All right. Get those fight songs.
That's what it's all about. Coleman and Manley combine to make the stop.
Do you know your fight song?
Yes, I happen to know the Syracuse fight song, and they've been playing it a lot lately, as you might expect.
Well, my school doesn't have one yet.
Gain of 3 and second down and 7 on the 13. Cunningham. And it was anyone's ball. Toney, the intended receiver, but it was tipped away by Neil Olkowitz, the middle linebacker.
The pressure from the ends of Washington is up the field, and when we talked to Darwin, the left tackle, and Joe Conwell, the right tackle of Philadelphia, the thing they said that they had to do today against these two fine rushing ends of the Redskins was drop back and present a target so that they would have to go around them, and then they would allow them to go ahead and take them whichever way they came.
Third down and 7. There are 4 wide receivers in there, including Chris Carter and Greg Garrity for the Eagles. Cunningham's pass incomplete, thrown behind Garrity, and defending on the play for the Redskins was Dennis Woodbury. So it'll be 4th down, and John Telchik will come in and kick. So Schrader, before had the drought, he had thrown 7 incompletions and an interception. Now Cunningham is 0 for 7 with an interception.
Well, it's confidence. Schrader's found the confidence. He drove them down 80 yards earlier in this game. Cunningham scrambling. He had the confidence. Now he's not having any success at all offensively, and so therefore he's losing confidence.
Telchik from the goal line. Yarber at the 38. And upended just shy of midfield by Seth Joyner. 49-yard kick. And Joyner, the man who made the hit, is shaken up. Well, if Schrader has the confidence, this could be a big pressure defensive sequence coming up for Philadelphia. Randall Cunningham talking with Junior Tartalatazzi about what the Eagles might do when they have the ball. But right now, the Redskins with their best starting field position on their own 49-yard line with 7:55 to go in the first half. This could be an important series right here. 14-7, the Redskins lead. Eagles scored first today. Rodgers. Mike Reichenbach got a hold of him, and Rodgers gets into Eagle territory. Clyde Simmons then makes the stop, and a pickup of about 3 on the play.
If there's one weakness in the Philadelphia Eagle defensive set of things, it would have to be the linebackers. Good linebackers, but not overpowering linebackers such as the Bears. And in this 46, so much is expected of him. Reichenbach 55, a good linebacker, not a great linebacker.
Gary Cobb replaces Dwayne Giles at right linebacker for Philadelphia. 2nd and 7. Schrader flushed out of the pocket and being chased, and goes out of bounds smartly as he saw and heard Reggie White coming in and advancing, and a pickup of 9 yards, and that will be good enough for a Washington first down.
It's a nice cool day, and I imagine Reggie White, 92, and the entire defense of the Eagles and of the Redskins are going to appreciate this in the fourth quarter, because if these two quarterbacks continue to get outside, their responsibility is they have to chase them. And that means they've got to be in good shape. As you can see, down on his knees, they're getting his breath, so this cool weather is going to help him just do that, chase the quarterback.
Mike Pitts replaces Jerome Brown at right tackle for Philadelphia. 1st and 10 at the 39 of the Eagles. Schrader looking every way, and then dumps it over and nearly intercepted that time by Seth Joyner. Pass was intended for George Rodgers. The Eagles have made advances. They're 3-4 coming into this ball game, including 2 in a row. But Buddy Ryan didn't make any bones about the kind of team he was playing today. He thinks that the Washington Redskins are the best team, not only in the NFC. That says a lot, better than the Bears, although he might have some prejudice there, but the NFL as well.
Well, he said that, and he also said this is the biggest game of my career. So those two tied together makes this a great game.
Kelvin Bryant in the game now for the Redskins. 2nd down and 10. Down, and Schrader's pass incomplete, intended for Bryant. Don Warren went in motion and all of a sudden stopped, and there might have been a mix-up on the right side of the line.
When Warren went in motion, he actually pulled Didier off the line.
Illegal motion, number 86.
And it was Didier.
Declined, 3rd down.
Declined the penalty. 3rd down.
Exactly what the Redskins wanted that time when they took Warren in motion to give help on White. With Didier and Warren taking him, allowed Schrader plenty of time to go back and pick up Kelvin Bryant coming across the middle, who was, by the way, wide open.
3rd down and 10 at the 39-yard line. Just under 7 minutes remaining in the first half. Redskins lead the Eagles 14-7. Hit as he lets go of the ball by Clyde Simmons with good pressure. Boy, the Eagle front 4 is awfully tough. They haven't been kept out at all today, really.
86 Didier coming over to help Schrader. Now look what Reggie White does. Gets underneath Didier and actually drives him back, and then gets a piece of Schrader, preventing Schrader from being able to follow through and throw the football the way he can do it. Can you imagine that? Gets up underneath the guy and drives him back 10 yards and still gets in and gets his hand on the quarterback.
So Steve Cox will punt from the 45-yard line. Morse is back, and Morse is going to let this one fly, and it cannot be saved. It goes into the end zone for a touchback, and it was Clarence Booker's
on first down as they will take him out and play the little simple zones, and that pass is a good pass for Cunningham and the tight end to get your confidence back, because Spagnuolo comes off, reads the linebackers, and sits down in between them.
2nd and Redskin line. Dave Butts, who's made a history out of making those kinds of plays. It'll be 3rd down and still 2 yards to go.
You can't run dive plays unless your guards, Baker and Schreiber, can get underneath Grant and Butts, the tackles of the Redskins. And what happened is Butts that time penetrated, Grant penetrated, got underneath their guards and knocked them back. And therefore, there was no place for the running back to go.
Marcus Cook comes in for Dexter Manley. 3rd down and 2. Eagles on their 28-yard line. And Tony carries and now mix up and a loose ball, and it's picked up by Darrell Green, and he'll go in for the touchdown. Darrell Green took the ball away, I believe, from Anthony Tony, stripped him of the ball, and went in for the touchdown, and the Redskins lead it 20-7.
Short yardage offense, crucial. You need to make the first down. There's the handoff, and it's a good handoff, but actually 71 man comes inside. He knocks the ball out, allowing Green to scoop it up and then run into the end zone. So credit man with being the one responsible for the fumble.
And a fumble recovery at a touchdown, 26-yard run by Darrell Green. He still has the football, and it's now 20-7. Ali Haji Sheikh. They have silenced this crowd. The kick is perfect, and the Redskins now lead it 21-7. Darrell Green with his 2nd career touchdown with 5:25 remaining in the first half. The Eagles have turned the ball over twice, and when the Redskins get the edge as they have right now, they're near unbeatable.
Well, I would say 50-2 is that's a pretty good ratio. 50-2, and you have a positive, a plus in the turnover ratio, not bad.
Puts a lot of pressure now on Philadelphia, and I think you pointed it out early after the Eagles took a 7-0 lead, and the Redskins drove 80 yards in 13 plays right after that scoring drive to quell the crowd and come back to tie it up. Crowd has never been in the game since, and now it'll take a lot to bring them back to.
That's true, Dick. And another thing that we have to see a change now in the offensive philosophy of the Eagles. They're too conservative, very simple, very basic. I say now you get out and you do play action with Cunningham outside and put a lot of pressure on the secondary of the Redskins. So far, they've been very, well, the old phrase, vanilla, just simple up the middle and a little drop back and a little pop. But big things have to happen to them, and you create your own breaks. You can make things happen, but you have to change the offense. You have it in your offense, so go ahead and change it.
Bobby Morse will be back, and Cox will kick it off for the Redskins. Line drive kick. And Carter, Chris Carter inside the 10. Trying to get some running room, but he can't. And he is brought down at the 20-yard line by Kurt Gouveia.
One of the more interesting matchups today with the classic is when we have Quick on Darrell Green, 28. Two really great performers. And I don't use the word great that often, but two really great performers. And sometime today we're going to see Canton Randall Cunningham go to Quick, his best receiver, deep.
The Eagles have plenty of time here in this first half, 5:15, and the whistle blows. And the play is brought back to penalty marker now. And the penalty is called against Adam Schreiber, the left guard. We were led to believe that this would be kind of a wide open game as far as the Eagles were concerned, because they didn't feel they were going to run much and would have to use a lot of screen passes and, try to take advantage of some of the weaknesses that the Eagles thought they saw in the Redskins secondary.
It's a young offensive team, and the bad things have happened to them here ever since that opening drive when Cunningham runs, scrambled out there for 45 yards, and they're a little uptight. They've got to relax now and just let it happen.
First and 15 at the 15. Anthony Tony hacks his way forward to the 17. Monty Coleman making the stop. Monty Coleman, who has not really had had a complete season and says he enjoys starting a lot more than coming off the bench, and a good reason why.
Well, one of the things they told us was that we need 16 games out of Coleman. He's the guy we've got to have the games out of. Well, they're not going to get 16. If they get anything, it'll be 15.
He says it's hard to get the adrenaline going when you're coming off the bench and you're standing around and they don't run plays at you for a while. Randall Cunningham looking left, going right. He has Kenny Jackson, and the Redskins may have come up with the ball. Let's see.
Ty goes to the receiver.
Barry Wilburn was covering, and I think that the tug of war is still going on between Jackson and Wilburn. You don't often see this.
The tie goes to the receiver, and what they have to determine is, did in fact Wilburn make the catch?
And it looks like it's Eagles' ball.
I happen to believe that Wilburn makes the interception, and Jackson takes it away. There's Wilburn with his right arm underneath Jackson. He has the ball around him, but watch this. Jackson rolls over, and he takes the ball back from Wilburn. Look at this. Now, Wilburn has the ball, but now Jackson ends up with it.
53-yard play, and they're still going at it. And it'll be a reception for Kenny Jackson. He caught a 70-yard touchdown pass last week against the Cardinals, and this crowd is on its feet again. Cunningham has the Eagles at the Redskin 38, first and 10 with 4 minutes to go, and now the Redskins quickly want to call a timeout, and they'll get it. The first timeout called by the Redskins in the first half. The Eagles have only one left. Hey, come here, says Joe Gibbs.
You can read his lips. Hey, come here and explain to me why we're not going to the cameras up there. Look, he's pointing upstairs. Hey, let's look at this thing and make sure that our boy Wilburn didn't make the catch. It was our ball. We made the catch. You gave it to them.
But I think you're right. I think Wilburn had the inside play and made the interception, and on the play, the rollover, it was Jackson who took the ball away, or at least got half of it.
If you can get away with it, if you're strong enough to do it, because this is what happens. That's why a receiver has to learn. Never quit, never give up. But Wilburn actually has his right hand inside, and he's the one that actually had control of the football. Now you're going to see, there's the wrestle. Look at this. Wilburn's got the football. Jackson's taking it away from him.
You don't often see a play that close where both of them kind of have half of the ball.
It's amazing that the refs are sitting there watching them roll down the field trying to determine which one of them had the ball. Now Gibbs is furious because he wants to go upstairs and he wants to look at a replay of it to determine whether or not, in fact, Wilburn did make the catch.
The replay booth called us and said it was conclusive that the Eagles had the ball. So that's that, and it's Philadelphia's possession. First and 10 on the 28 on the draw play. Keith Byers gets to the 25, a gain of 3. Mel Kaufman on the stop. This is the 100th meeting between these two clubs. Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, and a capacity crowd on hand to see whether the Eagles are the real thing against one of the powers in the league, the Redskins. But as you see, the Redskins in front 21-7. Taking advantage of a big turnover with Darrell Green returning a fumble 26 yards for a touchdown. Second down and 7 at the 25. Junior Tartalatazzi is in the ball game now. And the pass intended for Tartalatazzi off his hands, and Mel Kaufman was covering him on that play. The Eagles had 2 golden opportunities early. Once when Jerome Brown picked off a pass, and the Eagles had it on the 17 of the Redskins. A 4th and 2 went by the boards for the Eagles, and then a block punt by Reggie Singletary of the Eagles once again gave Philadelphia the ball in Redskin territory, and then Wilburn intercepted. So 2 chances went by the boards. Now it's 3rd and 7 at the 25. Hoffman tried to get in on a blitz inside. Let's see if he was drawn off, however.
Encroachment, number 55.
And that'll make it 3rd and 2.
Well, the success that the Redskins have had in the second quarter has been blitzing Randall Cunningham, and all they're doing is sending 4 linemen and 2 linebackers. Very simple blitz to pick up. And what is happening on the Eagles is they're not picking it up with their backs. They're running them out on routes, and Cunningham and the backs have got to get together and make those adjustments and get the ball to one another.
They're going to take the penalty to make it 3rd down and 2. And they'll spot it just inside the 20. Actually, it's closer to 3rd and 1 from the looks of things.
Isn't that interesting? Why not stay where you are and go ahead and throw the football and have the first down? 2 shots to make 7 yards. Now it's 3rd and 2, and we know what they did on 4th down.
3rd and 1, actually, if you look at the ball marking, and they don't make it. Marcus Cook, Anthony Toney got the call, and Marcus Cook and company. Whole bunch of white shirts in there, and now it'll be 4th down, and now it's 4th and 2.
Goal line defense by the Redskins. They bring in 74, Marcus Cook. He penetrates inside. As you can see, David Little coming to kick out, but Cook penetrates. Gosh, he looks like a big bear jumping up to the outside, making the stop.
Well, now the Eagles are going to try and come away with something out of this. A 37-yard field goal attempt by Paul McFadden is upcoming right now. McFadden, 0 for 2 last week, is 6 for 10 on the season. And the barefooted kicker is successful with 2:33 to go, and it is now a 21-10 ball game. Paul McFadden, a 37-yard field goal. You got to wonder a little bit, Terry, where the Eagles have not been able to run it all up the middle today. Try to do that on 3rd down and 1.
Well, I'm wondering, it's 2nd and 7, and they take the penalty and go ahead and take the a 3rd down and 2 play. Why not just stay 2nd and 7, repeat the down, and have 2 opportunities? Either they feel like they can't handle the blitz, or they feel like they can go ahead and make the 1st down, which they, of course, they didn't do. McFadden had to kick the field goal. So I question whether or not they shouldn't have taken the penalty. Just leave it alone and have the opportunity to throw the ball.
Coming up at halftime, Brenton Irv will have scores and highlights from around the league, and also they'll take a special look at the new style of luxury that's come to the NFL, the skyboxes. That's coming up at halftime here on CBS. John Telchik will be kicking off. Back is Keith Griffin for the Redskins, who is a leading rusher amongst the regulars and has not been in the backfield yet today. Can you get a line on how this game is going? Because the Eagles have come back there. They've made some plays. The Redskins have made the big plays on special teams, or at least on the turnovers.
Well, that's true. The thing they have to do is forget about the missed opportunities now. That's why they took the field goal. We've got to get something that gives them a little bit of momentum. Jackson making that catch gives Cunningham the confidence now, and so they feel like, well, we're back in this thing. 21-10, we can come back from that.
Came back last week against the Cardinals, and a squib kick out of bounds, so Telchik didn't get much of that. Cleveland leading Atlanta 14-3 in the 3rd quarter. Kansas City
out of bounds. The ball goes on the 35, 1st and 10.
They're going to spot the ball at the 35. Tampa Bay leading St. Louis. And it looks like the Buccaneers are going to be around to stay. There's a shocker. Colts leading San Diego. Dickerson already over 100 yards in the first half of that game.
You give me $1.4 million a year, and you're looking at the fastest running back in the world.
Well, let's not exaggerate here.
Well, that's true.
How about the arm? I'll take the arm.
I sure would like to try to run with it.
Ball at the 35 following the ball kick out of bounds, and George Rogers on 1st down picks up 11 as he moves it to the 46-yard line. Mike Reichenbach making the tackle as we're getting close to the 2-minute warning. So we saw an example of that new rule where they spotted at the 35.
Counter gap now. Step, back. Guard pulls, cuts inside tackle. Jacoby Coles kicks out, blocks down. The old counter trap, something the Redskins have been doing for years and years. There's the step. There's the setup. Rogers back. Gets up inside, and Jacoby leads him down the field for the 1st down.
Well, we've seen mostly passes. We haven't seen Rogers running so far. He's gained only 49 yards, but we have our 2-minute warning upon us.
Hi.
We've had our 2-minute warning, and the Redskins with the ball on their own 45-yard line, leading 21-10. In the first quarter, Jay Schrader had an equal amount of rushing to passing, but it's been 2-to-1 ratio in favor of the pass in the second quarter.
Well, he's come to life here in the second quarter. As you know, he missed those 2 long passes earlier, one to Clark and then one to Didier, so he's back. I look for him to throw the football, move it down the field.
Ricky Sanders is in the game as a third wide receiver. He's at the top of his screen. 1st and 10 at the 45. Schrader guns it downfield, and he's going for Sanders, who had it and knocked away. Terry Hogue and Elbert Fowles defending against Ricky Sanders, and there you see why the Redskins know he has the best speed of their receivers.
Anytime a quarterback throws the ball, the one thing we're taught in training camp and all our professional lives is when it's up in the air, we're the ones that are going to come down with it. Sanders is actually well covered. As you see, Fowles is trailing him. Now, Schrader with that great arm does absolutely no fear, throws it in behind. As you can see, Hogue there, 34, right through Sanders' hands.
Redskins still have 2 timeouts remaining. The Eagles just one. 2nd and 10 with 1:53 on the clock. Bryant, and Bryant goes down. And a loss of 2 yards on the play. And it was Reggie White, who leads the NFL in quarterback sacks with 7. And there came storming in against the run.
Golden opportunity here for the Philadelphia to call timeout, stop the clock, force Washington to throw the football, incompletion, 4 seconds go off the clock. You get it with a minute 25 seconds left. Instead, the clock's running down.
Well, they must be banking on stopping the Redskins here and then using the timeout on offense.
Well, that's good. If you only have 5 seconds, what good's it going to do?
3rd down and 12. They put the pressure on Schrader, and Schrader throws it away. It's intercepted by Roynell Young. Roynell Young to the 35. And he laterals it, and a loose ball, and the Redskins claim they have it, but no, it is Philadelphia ball. A risky play indeed for Roynell Young once he had the ball in Redskin territory at the 30 to try to get more out of it. It'll be Philadelphia's ball on Roynell Young's interception.
Well, you can attribute this interception to pressure on the quarterback. Schrader can't get in stride and gun the football the way he can. So you're going to see it's just simple rush. Now off the very end, as you're going to see, Schrader has a man at his feet. He can't follow through. So that ball is actually sails out of his hands right into Roynell Young's hand, who did a fine job of running with the football, but almost made a big mistake when he decides to go ahead and lateral.
A 32-yard return. He tried to get it to Frizzell, and Frizzell couldn't hold on to it. So the Eagles already in field goal range, still with 1 timeout to go, 53 seconds to go, trailing the Redskins 21-10. Cunningham in trouble, and down he goes back at the 40, and now the Eagles are out of field goal range, so a timely defensive play by Washington. Charles Mann and Darrell Grant.
Well, the best pass defense always, of course, is a pass rush. You put pressure on a quarterback like the man's doing, 71 there. You do that, you don't have to worry about whether or not your guys are throwing interceptions.
First sack of the ball game for either side. 2nd down and 19. Cunningham back at midfield. He fires, and Finney Jackson has it, and he's got it at the 15, and the clock stops with 23 seconds to go. A 24-yard play. Todd Bowles knocked him out of bounds.
Get an idea of what he's looking at, and Manley coming up the top of the screen. He penetrates from the top side, flushes Cunningham out of the pocket. Cunningham picks up Jackson, makes the throw. Now you can see Jackson on the corner, fine catch, gets both feet in, gets out of bounds.
1st and 10 Eagles on the Redskin 15, 23 seconds to go in the half. Cunningham's pass is caught by Jackson. Let's see if they call it. It is caught by Jackson, and a timeout called by the Eagles with 18 seconds to go.
For the first winter ever, there's actually an antifreeze that will guarantee your radiator. The antifreeze? new Prestone Advanced Formula. Use it after using Prestone Super Flush. And should our protection fail, no matter which model car you have, we'll pay for your radiator repairs. New Prestone Advanced Formula. The antifreeze that guarantees your radiator.
Big turnover here. If the Eagles can capitalize, they have no timeouts remaining. What's in store for them here?
Well, they've got to throw it in the end zone. It's second down, 2 yards to go for a first, and that's no good. They have got to throw the next 3 plays, second, third, and fourth down, or if they don't go for the field goal, they got to put the ball in the end zone. They have to throw it.
In a lot of ways, this is the game right here. If the Eagles don't get anything out of it, it could be a long haul for them.
Well, this is crucial because they passed up 2 golden opportunities, and they don't want to miss out here, and they really don't want a field goal. They want a touchdown.
Second and goal on the 1, and here is a fade pass to Mike Quick. Touchdown, Philadelphia. He grabbed it over Darrell Green. A 6-yard catch, his first of the day for Mike Quick.
Well, when you really need someone, you go to the guy you have the most confidence in, regardless of whether or not he's made a catch in this drive. He had not made a catch, but boy, when they needed it, Cunningham put it up. Quick made the catch.
McFadden looking for the 17th point. And the kick is good. With 14 seconds to go, Mike Quick with a touchdown reception. But the big one was the 24-yard pass to Kenny Jackson, and it was all set up by Roynell Young's interception of Schrader's pass.
Quick ran the same pass that Greg Garrity ran last week against St. Louis when Cunningham drilled the ball. This time he notices that Quick has his man beaten. He's even with him. He lays it up and says, go get it. Offensive receivers should be able to out-jump defensive backs.
Especially when you're 6'2", and the defensive back is 5'8", as was the case right there. So the Eagles have come back. They were trailing 21-7. They got a field goal from McFadden when their drive stalled, and now the touchdown pass, and now Griffin goes back deep for the Redskins. And Telchik will be kicking off. Don't forget at halftime, a lot of scores and highlights. See what's been going on with the Green Bay Packers, who took the lead over the Chicago Bears. See if that game has gone the way it started. Brent Nerve will have it from the studio. Telchik with an end-over-end kick, and it's going to be Griffin at the 4. Griffin is stopped at the 33-yard line, and making the play for the Eagles is Russell Gary. That's how much time remains, 8 seconds. The Redskins have 2 timeouts left, but that may not be much of a factor at this point.
No, because if Schrader throws a 40-yard pass right now, the clock would expire. Time he's set up, 4 and 4.5 seconds to get the pass off. The pass would have to travel 35, 40 yards in the air. You make the catch, you hit the ground, then we're into the halftime. So right now it serves no purpose other than maybe he wants to, get some yardage, get a little confidence. You can get all of that out of 8 seconds.
Well, the crowd was all turned on when the Eagles scored first, and then they were quiet most of this half, but you'll hear them cheer when this first half comes to a close. Schrader will run it out of bounds, and that's the end of the first half. The Eagles have come back to trail by only 4 points. First half here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. With the score, the Washington Redskins 21, the Philadelphia Eagles 17.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Cadillac Motor Car Company. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. The industrial tool division of Black & Decker. Ask a man who's used one lately. Nothing beats a Black & Decker. And by Castrol, the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars.
And Harry McGraw. All Tuesday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
The Washington Redskins defense is highlighted here against the Philadelphia Eagles. The one man you don't want to fumble the ball away to is Darrell Green. Not even someone grasping at his face mask can hold him up. He zips into the end zone for a big Redskin touchdowner cross.
You know, you really feel kind of silly chasing a guy like that. You can't catch him, you know.
But I'll tell you, the Eagles may catch the Skins in the second half. It's a good one, isn't it? 21-17 right now. The Skins over the Eagles. And here was that catch just moments ago by Mike Quicker.
You know, they have a pre-snap signal on that. When Quick has his right hand or his left arm on the outside, on his left hip, he's going to go outside, right hand on the inside. Of course, he went left outside and he threw it out there. It was just for a touchdown. Got it.
21-17. Skins with the lead. Atlanta and Cleveland, they're into the second half. Browns with a big lead in that one, 21-13. Watch Bernie Kosar. This is a 54-yard scoring pass to Webster Slaughter, and Kosar and the Browns on the move. They've had a tough schedule so far. This team is going to be reckoned with before the AFC Championship race is over, and it is 21-3, Browns over the Falcons. Now, Kansas City and Pittsburgh, they've gone into the second half, and the Steelers jump ahead with a touchdown. It is 14-10, Pittsburgh over Kansas City. Tampa Bay and St. Louis right now, 21-3. Ray Perkins, a candidate for Coach of the Year, the way he's got the Buccaneers playing this year. Denver and Buffalo. Buffalo has blocked 2 Bronco punts in this game for safeties, and Jim Kelly has thrown a touchdown pass. Elway, 1 of 9 for 4 yards against that Bill defense. San Diego and Indianapolis, Eric Dickerson has rushed for better than 100 yards already. He did that in the first half, 13-3. Colts with the lead over the Chargers. The Raiders and Minnesota, the Vikings moments ago intercepted a Hilger pass and pounded in from the 1. It is 14-3, Minnesota over Los Angeles. Chicago and Green Bay, and this could be the upset special of the day. The Packers a 10-point underdog, but watch here in the late going as Wright goes to Epps, and that was a 26-yarder. What do you think about the way the Packers are playing, Irv?
Well, because they're playing inspired football today, but they had a call earlier in the game. Of course, we won't have the video up now. There's a controversial call on the sideline. Pass was caught, rule completed, and really should have been incomplete, which led to a touchdown for him.
Yeah, everything going Green Bay's way,
sure,
including the rulings from the press box. And we'll continue right after these messages from your local stations. To our warm studios in New York. You know, there once was a time when football fans were content to sit outside on hard wooden benches in fair weather or foul, but that was before the era of large expense accounts and yuppie millionaires on Wall Street. And to keep up with the flashy excess of the 1980s, some pro football fans have gone upscale in a big way. Our Gary Paul Gates now brings us up to date on the new look and economics of stadium seating.
Here at Texas Stadium, the skyboxes are where you want to be. The price of admission, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. And to keep these high rollers happy, there's the latest in high tech, as well as ample sustenance for the body and the soul. As for the attitude toward those fans who don't measure up, it's a case of let them eat cake.
A lot of people still sit outdoors to watch the game. You may remember that.
They still do, don't they? There's plenty to be smug about. Some of these boxes are so opulent, they look as if a would-be Michelangelo had been hired to paint the ceiling. But if you own a masterpiece, how do you sell it?
When you sell them for what the market will bear, and that depends on location.
When you say the market, you don't mean like Wall Street.
I think it's a little tougher than Wall Street. When Dini's having a crappy day, values go down. When Landry doesn't do right, values go down. We're more volatile in the market, much more volatile.
In the meantime, Dallas's longtime rival for Texas glory was facing a crisis of self-esteem. The Houston Astrodome, once hailed as the 8th wonder of the world, has lost some of its luster. And like a man bored with a long marriage that's gone to seed, Oiler owner Bud Adams began stepping out with another city, Jacksonville.
We're really interested, and it's been fun meeting all of you here, especially because you're talking about buying those skyboxes now.
Some critics viewed the flirtation in Florida as an exercise in blackmail, a gun put to the head of the Astrodome in the city of Houston. And it worked. The fear of being rejected produced a desired response. And now the Astrodome is being refurbished with a multi-million-dollar commitment that includes the finest in new luxury boxes. And the folks in Houston were only too willing to pay the price.
I think you have to be troubled by the morality of that. The monies that go into public stadia could be better used for hospitals and libraries and sewers. But the reality is that the taxpayers are not going to vote that money that goes into the stadiums for sewers or libraries or hospitals.
Parts of the community across the nation would look at Houston. They've had that oil bust that they've got down there, and it's affected everything, including their franchise, their Major League Football franchise.
Nor is Houston the only team going through football's version of the 7-year itch. The long marriage between Billy Bidwell and St. Louis is known to be on the rocks. And as the Cardinals cast a roving eye, Baltimore has joined Jacksonville and other cities in the high-powered game of courtship. As for you fans who still brave the elements, start saving your pennies. Because if the NFL owners get their ultimate wish, the day will come when all the seats will look like this. And then the true elitist will have to leave the stadium altogether and move up to the next level of snobbery.
I do believe they're about to kick off. Let's have a watch. Up and away for CBS Sports, I'm Gary Paul Gates.
Didn't I see some luxury boxes down at Auburn?
Yeah, indeed. And you know, Irv, those who cite just the cost of stadiums and what the taxpayers pour in, I think miss the point. For example, down in Auburn, Alabama, a town of 20,000, they got an 85,000-seat stadium. They're going to make Alabama come in there to play, and when that game is staged on a weekend now, some $10 to $12 million will be spent in Auburn, Alabama. Now, just multiply that by the number of cities across the country. Let's send you back to the stadium now in the game you're enjoying here on CBS.
Halftime at Veterans Stadium. The Washington Redskins lead the Philadelphia Eagles 21-17. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
It's one of those old things you say, well, whoever has it at the end of the game very well could be the team that wins it.
Let's take a look at a couple of statistics here, and of course time of possession. The Redskins live by it, and right now they have a very slim edge over the Philadelphia Eagles. So you were right, they're not relying on the run, they're throwing to stay in this ball game. Turnovers have played a role in this game, as the Eagles have capitalized twice on Philadelphia turnovers, and the Eagles have only capitalized once on 2 turnovers by the Washington Redskins. And of course, one big turnover resulted in a Washington touchdown, maybe the difference of the game, and that, of course, was Darrell Green's play.
Yeah, Darrell Green's play on the Tony fumble, as you can see in the top left of your screen. Mann, 71, Charles Mann, swings the arm out, knocks the ball loose from Tony, and Green stands right there and says, "Hello, football." And then this guy's a 9-1 sprinter.
And, of course, the touchdown to Quick just before the end of the half.
Well, this is a great play that was set up by Jackson's fine reception. He out-jumps Green, makes the touchdown. 21-17, Washington leads.
So now we start the second half. The Redskins will be receiving. John Telchik will be kicking off, and Keith Griffin is back for the Redskins. And a deep kick by Telchik, and Griffin decides to run it out. Still going is Griffin, and Frizzell finally brings him down at the 25-yard line, and that's where at the half good things have happened. 53-3 in the last 5 years.
Well, then they should feel awful comfortable right now, realizing that when they're leading at halftime, they're 53-3. Not bad.
You think they feel comfortable?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't think so either. Art Monk goes out to the left. Jay Schrader had his cool moments and then hot moments, but still 7 for 26 at the half. George Rogers. And Rogers is stopped, but not before he picks up 8 yards. Andre Waters and Terry Hoke, the 2 safeties, make the stop on Rogers.
Well, I got to believe that Joe Gibbs is pretty upset, and he had a few words with his team at halftime. Disappointed, of course, in giving up the turnovers, but not being able to run the football, which is exactly what Gibbs wants to do coming out here in the second half. Says, okay, Rogers, you left over Jacoby. Get some yardage.
2nd and 2 on the 33-yard line. Time of possession practically even. That's not good news for Washington. We go to Rogers again, and Rogers close to first down yardage. Clyde Simmons making the tackle. Very close. He might have been short by less than a yard. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League is prohibited. Rogers was short. It'll be 3rd down and 1, and there's Reggie Branch, who is the short yardage blocker on goal line and short yardage plays. And Jay Schrader didn't like what he saw and calls a timeout. So an early timeout, less than 2 minutes into this 3rd quarter, called by the Redskins, and we'll be back to Veterans Stadium after this. They're back here in an early timeout by the Redskins. Did you spot why, Terry?
Well, it's 3rd and 1, and the Redskins have been using 3 tight ends, and what Philadelphia countered with this time was 5 defensive linemen. This is an ideal situation for a play-action pass.
Then they go to Rogers, and he stopped behind the line, and a loss on the play of 1.5 yards. Seth Joyner and Gary Cobb making the tackle, and Jerome Brown also in on the play.
Anytime you see a goal line defense in 3rd and short yardage, an ideal play is to play action pass up inside off of a goal line run that you've shown earlier and come out with a pass, and if you hit it for a big yardage. That time the Redskins, you know, a little bit of pride may have gotten in their way then. They said, by golly, we're going to jam this down your throat, and it backfired on them.
Cox will be kicking, and Bobby Morse is back for the Philadelphia Eagles. They blocked one of Cox's punts before, and on the run, Morse at the 35 is hit by Vernon Dean, and a penalty marker is down as well. And we may have a clip in there. 34-yard kick, and Morse brought it back to the 37.
Illegal block in the back, number 95. 1st down.
That was Jody Schultz. Next week it'll be Alabama and Notre Dame. And the Crimson Tide, as you talked about before, upset over LSU. First loss of the year for the Tigers, and a big one next week.
Well, Alabama beat LSU in LSU, and this is the 9th visit down there since '69 that Alabama's never beaten LSU, or LSU's never beaten Alabama at home.
And Notre Dame with Tim Brown, nearly 300 all-purpose yards yesterday, and a great comeback against Boston College next Saturday. Cunningham, and it's intercepted by Todd Bowles as he overthrows Mike Quick, and Bowles picks it off at the 40-yard line of Washington, and that is the 3rd turnover by the Philadelphia Eagles, and the 2nd interception thrown by Cunningham.
Ideal situation for Cunningham this time as Bowles, 23, the free safety. He has to cover Quick man for man. He's open there, but a poorly thrown ball by Cunningham ends up being intercepted by Bowles. Young quarterbacks sometimes have a hard time hiding how they feel about interceptions. I know I did. I held my head low. He just stands there and says, I don't believe this.
For Bowles, his 3rd interception of the year. Wilburn picked one off earlier, his 5th. 1st and 10 at the 45. Redskins with the lead and the ball. Schrader with a quick toss to Monk. 1st down, and Art Monk gets into Eagles territory and knocked out of bounds at the 41 by Roynell Young. Andre Waters also in on the play.
Well, there's the hitch that we saw earlier in the 1st quarter where it was almost intercepted. This time, as you can see, Monk will drive off. Notice the separation that the corner gives Monk. Monk reads it, comes down, stops, makes the hitch. Young's off of him too far, 1st down. Had Young come up that time, Dick, and pressed Monk, then Monk would have gone deep.
Monk with a 14-yard gain. He caught a 19-yard touchdown pass in the 1st half. Kelvin Bryant in the backfield for the Redskins. 1st and 10 on the Eagles' 40. And Bryant gets the call and is hit. Picked up a yard. Reggie White, Dwayne Giles combined to make the tackle on Kelvin Bryant. Second down and 9, and William Frizzell, former Detroit Lion, comes in the game. And of course, the Eagle coaches said when Frizzell is in there with a lot of strength, he'll probably be watching Art Monk one-on-one.
He matches up well with Monk. Monk's extremely strong with the receiver, and so is Frizzell.
Schrader under pressure, throws the ball away, and a penalty marker is down. Mike Reichenbach came in, and a flag is offensive team. Of course, he threw the ball to no one.
They're going to call him for intentional grounding, loss of down, and
intentional grounding, number 10, loss of down, third down.
Schrader under a lot of pressure this time, setting up, trying to get the ball down the middle. Notice he looks inside. Reichenbach puts the heat on him, and he just throws it over May and Tillman's head. No one there, lost it down at the spot where he threw the ball.
And he did it to avoid a sack, pure and simple. So it's third down and 20, back at midfield for Schrader. 4 minutes gone by here in the third quarter, 21-17. The Redskins lead the Eagles. Sanders in as a third wide receiver. Schrader almost lost his footing. Going for Art Monk, and he overthrows him. He had beaten Cedric Brown, the nickelback, and Schrader is just wondering what might have been on a great pass pattern to Monk.
The matchup from the slot. That means that Monk is inside an outside receiver. Gives him man-for-man coverage by Brown, 23. He's beaten right now. This is the third long pass that Jay Schrader's thrown, in which he had a receiver open for a touchdown, but just simply overthrew his receiver. Ideal matchup. You just don't get those kinds of matchups that often, and when you do, you got to cash them in.
Steve Cox will boot it away. Bobby Morris is back for the Eagles. Good high kick and a fair catch called for by Morse at the 11-yard line. 39-yard kick, but no advance, and the Eagles are backed up when we come back to Veterans Stadium. Jay Schrader is anything but pleased right now. Other than that scoring drive when he completed 5 out of 8 with the touchdown pass to Monk, Schrader is 3 for 21 the rest of the game. Eagles on their 11-yard line. And the give up the middle to Keith Byers, and Darrell Grant making the tackle. Earlier in the game, Cunningham ran for 50 yards, 45 on one play. The 3 regular running backs for the Eagles have averaged less than 2 yards a carry, so it's been Cunningham or no count on the ground for the Eagles today.
They really haven't tried to establish any type of running game. Actually, that dive play that you just saw was a play they told us they wanted to run a lot today. This is the second half, and it's the first time we've seen it.
2nd and 6 on the 15. Penalty flags fly. Keith Byers doesn't get much. Barry Wilburn forcing from the secondary, making the tackle.
Offside, number 51, second down.
Monty Coleman, Cleveland way ahead of Atlanta. Brown starting to sizzle. Tight game in the third quarter in Kansas City. Tampa Bay, they're for real, and they lead the St. Louis Cardinals in the surprise in Buffalo, leading the Broncos in the third quarter. Colts also appear to be for real. Vikings looking to get back in the playoff race, and the Packers still have the lead over Chicago at halftime in Green Bay. 2nd down and 1 following the penalty. Junior Tartalatazzi is in the ball game, and the give is to Tartalatazzi, and he'll get the first down at the 23. Monty Coleman making the tackle. Eagles started from their 11, and they get some running room now.
Left side of your screen, you're going to see Coleman, 51, coming inside. Tartalatazzi takes the ball, dodges out to the right side, but Coleman is right in his hip pocket, makes the sack. Well, not a sack, but stops him for no gain.
Coleman having his best year. He's had most of tackles of any Redskin defender behind the line of scrimmage. Tony tries to protect the ball, and Anthony Tony with an impressive run brings it out to the 29-yard line. Mel Kaufman and Todd Bowles make the tackle on Tony, who scored an Eagle touchdown.
There's that dive play we were talking about. Simple little handoff down the line of scrimmage. You give it to him, and then Tony either pops inside the guard or outside the tackle. That time he went outside and got 7 yards.
Are we seeing a little ball control from the Eagles here, even though they're trailing?
I think what they're trying to do is show run so they can get some passing. Right now, Cunningham, they don't believe, has had the time to throw.
He falls down, and Byers picks it up and gets the first down on a busted play. Monty Coleman making the tackle on Byers, but it's a first down for the Philadelphia Eagles out to the 35.
One of the things you have to have is presence of mind and coolness under fire when things don't go well. As you can see, Cunningham coming out, trips, has presence of mind, keeps his cool, flips it to Byers. Byers gets the first down.
They ought to put that one in the playbook.
I don't think so.
Eagles on their own 35 with 7:50 remaining in the third quarter. Now Cunningham unleashes it, and he hits Kenny Jackson. And another first down, short of midfield. A good slant in, good for 12 yards. Wilburn defending on the play.
When we talked to Wilburn last night, the thing he told us about routes, the hardest routes to cover were the end routes. Why? Because they come down, and when they cut in, they're running away from you, and you have to try to catch up with them. Virtually impossible.
Wilburn with an interception today and 5 on the season, but the Eagles moving the ball. They started from their 11-yard line, and Anthony Toney breaks Monty Coleman's tackle and gets into Redskin territory. Another first down to the 39.
Anthony Toney showing a slashing, dashing style that once again is reminiscent of tailbacks, not fullbacks. Cutting in, cutting out, showing a real dashing, darting type of running. Look at this, outside, inside, breaks tackles.
Charles Mann made the stop. And the Eagles controlling the ball in masterful fashion. First and 10 on the Redskin 40. 14-yard pickup that time for Toney. Byers in motion. Cunningham almost tripped. Being chased by Monty Coleman, and the pass is incomplete. Coming up was Todd Bowles on the pass intended for Byers, and a scramble by Cunningham there, and the chase was on. Penalty marker is down.
There's no flag. He threw the ball from behind the line.
Ball was thrown from behind the line. Here's the scramble by Cunningham.
Well, a defensive end's nightmare. He does a fine job of getting up the field, and actually that time, as you could see, he gets, as Darwin pushed him wide, he actually pushed him into Cunningham, but Cunningham gets away from him, goes downfield, and tries desperately to get a pass down there and make a completion.
Manley was on the chase. Dexter with a couple of sacks last week. So far, Mann is the only sack today for the Redskins. Second and 10, and another flag and movement on the line. It was the right side of the Philadelphia offensive line.
Number 63.
And it was Ron
Second
Baker,
down.
their 10-year veteran. The Eagles are looking for their third victory in a row. It's been 2 years since they've managed that hat trick. They're also trying to square things against the Redskins on the season, who won the season opener 34-24. But the Redskins are a very good road club. In fact, the last 5 years, the best road record in the league. And they've won the last 2 here at Veterans Stadium. Second and 15 on the 45. And Cunningham goes down, and it was Neil Olkowitz who came in to stop the run, and instead he stopped Cunningham, and that's the second sack of the game by Washington.
It's blitz. Notice the blitz. Walton comes up inside. Olkowitz up inside. It's just simple 6-man rush. Should be taken up easily, but it isn't. Olkowitz comes free. As you see, he and Walton coming in there. Olkowitz makes the sack.
A loss of 7 on the play, and they've backed up the Eagles back into their own territory to the 49-yard line, and they have 3rd and 21 coming up.
A young quarterback has to notice the safeties when they come up tight and get out of those things and make the right audibles.
And on the draw play, it's Anthony Toney. And Toney gets back into Washington territory at the 48. Mel Kaufman on the tackle, and they've got to separate some of the players now. Once again, started early in the ball game when Randall Cunningham was knocked down. This time Keith Byers was in the middle of it, but Cunningham missed a play in the 4th quarter when he was hit hard by a Redskin defender. That's in the 1st quarter of the game. And the tempers have flared from time to time since. 4th down, John Telchik will kick. Rick Yarber is back for the Skins. And we're going to have a roughing the kicker penalty, or running into the kicker. We'll see which way. He picked up the flag, the official, after he let it go, and the kick is down at the 10-yard line, a 37-yard kick. Terry Orr came in and got a piece of Telshik.
Touch the ball.
But they rule that Orr got a piece of the ball, and so it's not running into the kicker.
Right. If you get a piece of the football, you can go ahead and hit the punter all you want. As you can see, Wilburn coming up from the right side of your screen. There's Orr highly extended to the point where the ball's going. Gets his hand on the ball. Now he can kick. Now he's allowed to hit the punter.
The official threw the flag, and then he picked it up. And a great kick for Philadelphia here.
CBS Sports.
Last series, the Eagles started from their 11, got down to the Redskin 39, and now it's Washington starting from their own 11-yard line with 5:06 to go in the third quarter, leading the Eagles 21-17. George Rogers on first down gets a couple, and that's all. Without question, the Eagles' defense against the rush has improved considerably since the early going. Making the tackle, Reggie White and Ken Clark, the left side of the line.
Reggie White has had a heck of a game. You know what he does? He takes two players out of your offense and you focus them on him, frees up Jerome Brown or Clark. And the nice thing about their defense is they have White on the left and Jerome Brown at right tackle. You can't go right or left without having a big horse sitting right there waiting on you.
Clyde Simmons has come on at right end. Kelvin Bryant in the ball game, second down and 7 at the 14 of Washington. Schrader's pass to Clark. He's got it. Trying to get away, and he gets the first down. Out to the 24-yard line. Clyde Simmons making the tackle on Gary Clark.
Ideally, whenever I was having a hard time in a football game, I would say, check with me, and I'd go up to the line of scrimmage, and if they were way off, I'd throw the hitch. They came up, then maybe I threw a corner, but I would call my offense at the line of scrimmage, and everything would be to help me come out of my slump. I did it for myself. That hitch right there helped Schrader a bunch.
First down at the 24-yard line. Kelvin Bryant gets the call and passes the 25-yard line. Stopped at the 26 by Reggie White. Again, Jerome Brown, who has an interception today for the Eagles, also involved on the play.
Jerome Brown, and look at this. Kelvin Bryant to the outside. There's a hold on Clark as he tries to get loose, and then Kelvin Bryant trying to cut back inside, but look who's down there waiting on him, number 92, Reggie White.
We have not had any scoring in this third quarter. Still 21-17 Washington. Second down and 8. At the 26, Schrader has wide open Art Monk. Monk with a first down. It up to the 42-yard line, a gain of 16. Terry Hogue making the stop on Art Monk.
Putting Monk in the slot allows him the freedom now to run man for man. As you can see, turns around, no one there to cover him. Schrader reads it, sees no one's there, pops him with a little 5-yard pass, and then Art Monk does the rest.
4 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown for Art Monk. Redskins on their own 42-yard line with 2:20 remaining in the third quarter. And there's Rogers. And George Rogers gets into Eagle territory, and a great bit of running off the left side. Picks up another first down, 12 to be exact, to the 46 of Philadelphia. Jerome Brown and Elbert Fowles that time on the stop on Rogers, who has 71 yards.
Well, the counter gap, we've seen it earlier to the right. This time they ran it to the left with Tillman and May leading the way. It's only the second time that we've seen the counter gap, which is the bread and butter run of the Washington Redskins today.
Rogers has 71 yards. The Redskins have won 34 in a row, and one of their running backs gets 100 or more. First and 10 at the Philadelphia 45. Schrader with a low toss start. Mizell.
I want to show you what happens. On the left of your screen, a slot is there's an angle between the tackle, there'll be a receiver and then another receiver. That guy right there is the slot, and that's where Monk is lining up, and that's where Schrader's trying to throw the football. There'll be a little gap there. He turns around, Monk goes down inside this time and works out, and Schrader missed him.
2nd and 10. Monk comes in motion to the right side. Bryant in the backfield. Blitz. And the jump pass incomplete. They had Sanders going downfield and Monk going inside. And Seth Joyner blitzing. We're at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, capacity crowd, looking to see whether the Eagles, who are trailing 21-7 at one point, can come back and turn this into a big victory. They have scored 10 unanswered points. No scoring, however, in the third quarter. Joe Gibbs' Redskins looking for their 6th win in a row. Two members of their outstanding defense, Monty Coleman and Dexter Manley, watching while the offense brings it up 3rd and 10 on the Eagle 46. 1:21 remaining in the third quarter. And open that time is Kelvin Bryant out of the backfield, and Bryant gets the first down and more, and is stopped at the 31-yard line. 32 of Philadelphia by Evan Cooper.
Whenever you put Clark and Monk to the right, you force to take 3 defensive backs, and they have to cover those guys 2 and 1. That automatically isolates a back on Bryant man for man. The Redskins know this. They call a fine play here where Bryant has the option, he runs the option, Schrader gets him the ball.
Bryant has rushed for 40 yards and has caught 41 yards, including 14 on that play. And it's a first down for the Redskins. Leading by 4 on the delay. Here is Rodgers off the left side, and a penalty marker comes flying as Rodgers is knocked out of bounds by Terry Ho, close to yet another first down. They mark it at the 25, so he's shy by about 3.
Well, they threw the flag at 83. Ricky Sanders, the wide receiver, who went downfield, and in his efforts to help Rodgers by throwing a block, he's going to be called here for illegal use of his hands, holding.
Fred Wyant.
Holding, number 83, first down.
That's the call, Mr. B.
Receivers aren't heavy blockers. And when I mean what is a heavy blocker, they're not going to go down there, put their head in a number, and knock a guy on his back. They're going to get position, and then they're just going to push him a little bit. Well, 83 in the top left of your screen, Sanders has his hands all over that time. Number 29, Elbert Files, they call him for holding. But hey, he's trying to do his job. Just got to keep those hands off.
All right, that's going to do it for the third quarter. That is the end of the third. With the score, the Redskins 21, the Eagles 17. We're back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Dick Stockton and Terry Bradshaw in a game that means so much to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are trying to get back to 500. Their team is 3-1, not counting replacement games, but of course those count. And the Redskins were good in the replacement games and without. They are 6-1 on the year. And as we start the fourth quarter, it'll be a first down and 12 for the Redskins in Eagle territory at the 34. 21-17 the score. No scoring in the third quarter. Schrader is going to go down. Back at the 46. And it was Gary Cobb, former Detroit Lion, who was traded for Wilbert Montgomery, and a loss of 10 yards on the play.
Cobb on the right of your screen, simple little blitz. No one's there to pick him up, actually, or should have picked him up, but he didn't. I'm sorry, that's Monk who comes back inside trying to help Schrader to no avail. And look at it from the outside, a simple little blitz, nothing complicated at all about this. Jacoby turns around as if to say, hey, I missed my man, and Monk said, I'll help you out, but he also missed him.
Well, right now the Redskins are out of field goal range. Second down and 22 on the Eagle 44. Quick toss, and it's behind Sanders, who is open for the moment. Roynell Young was covering on the play.
One of the problems Schrader's having is they're showing an 8-man front, and he is having to concentrate so much on his blitz control that his train of thought is taken away from the coverage, and he's now got his mind zeroed in on, if they blitz, I've got to go here. And it's taking him out of his rhythm, and that's exactly what a good defense does to a young quarterback. It's their purpose is to take you out of your rhythm where you aren't comfortable. You're not confident with what you're doing.
But not a bad idea to go to Sanders, because against the 46, you want to isolate a good speed receiver against one man back there.
Right, but if the problem was that Sanders ran a 10-yard route and Schrader only had time to throw a 5-yard route.
That's a big difference. 3rd and 22. Again, pressure on Schrader. And down he goes, back in his own territory. Clyde Simmons, 9th-round draft pick in his second year.
Number 96 to the top right of your screen. Pitts goes down inside, occupies 2 people. As you can see, Cobb occupies a back, and then Simmons, 96, goes around, comes in behind, and makes the sack.
A loss of 9. 3rd sack of the game by the Eagles. Steve Cox doesn't get off a good kick here, and a fair catch called for by Bobby Morse. And he's got it at the 24-yard line. And we'll return to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia after this word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. Subaru and the new Subaru XT6, the Sport Magazine Super Bowl MVP Award. And by Wrangler Jeans, made in the USA.
1 minute may have elapsed in this 4th quarter, but this may be the biggest quarter of the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. They trail the Redskins 21-17, 1st and 10 on their 24, and Anthony Toney breaks out and brings it down to the 29. Alvin Walton on the stop, a pickup of 5. Capacity crowd today of 63,609. Watching these Eagles, who are looking for their 3rd victory in a row. It's been 2 years since they've achieved that. And after this game against the high-flying Redskins, they're home against the Giants and Cardinals. Redskins have the lead, though, and that's the key number. 2nd and 5 at the 29. Pitch to Toney. Gets outside, and Anthony Toney will get a 1st down up to the 35. Todd Bowles and Mel Kaufman that time on the stop.
The old pitch play, anytime you can catch a linebacker or defensive end coming down inside, ideally what you'd like to do is pitch it. As you can see, Toney going inside, and then Byers setting up Coleman, actually holding him, allowing this time Toney to get outside and finally right down and make the 1st down.
Terry Jimmy Giles, who was acquired and celebrating his 33rd birthday today, former Detroit Lion for a draft choice, is in the ball game, number 83 at tight end, and a play-action pass. Cunningham takes off. He'll get a 1st down, and into Redskin territory on a big play. A gain of 18 yards.
Play-action passes, you have to have a lot of pressure. I want you to check Conwell, big right tackle, number 79. As you see, he sets up Scholl's pass and then engages with man up underneath him. Look at the good technique. He's inside. Man coverage allows no one to cover the quarterback. That way, Cunningham gets outside for the 1st down.
Conwell, whose brother is a leader of a rock group here in the Philadelphia area called Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers. You remember them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, got all their work, all their records.
1st down, and a great catch by Toney on a low throw by Cunningham, and the Eagles once again flirting with a 1st down, and the crowd is revved up. Neil Olkowitz making the tackle on Toney.
These are really, really gutsy calls because the ends and the linebackers for Washington are forcing Cunningham wide. As you can tell, 71 Grant actually has good containment, just a fine throw and catch between Cunningham and Toney. They're too wide, that's what I'm saying. They're really not good calls. They're just making them happen.
Also making it happen, besides Toney with 65 yards rushing today, is Cunningham, who He's got that extra added dimension that is causing wreaking havoc on the Redskins. And there's Tony up the middle on a quick hitter. Needed 2 yards for the first down and appears to have it to the 36, and it is another Philadelphia first down. Cunningham has rushed for 68 yards on 3 carries.
Dean Hamill coming in for Darrell Grant at tackle. Grant evidently in chasing Cunningham needs a breather, so they bring in fresh bodies.
You need a lot of them against Randall Cunningham. Pitch and a reverse. Carter goes back to Cunningham on a flea flicker, and he's sacked by Dexter Manley. Back on the Philadelphia 49. Boy, that was as fancy as you get, Terry.
That's about the fanciest flea flicker I have ever seen. Starts off with a little pitch. That's a fine job. Now we get the little handoff. Now Carter options the linebacker, but the problem with the flea flicker, it fooled no one, and Dexter Manley says, oh boy, I get to hit you, Cunningham. I'm going to hit you.
And he gets his first sack of the game and a loss of 15 yards. And it's second down and a long 25 for the Eagles back on their own 48-yard line. Cunningham dumps it off to Tony. Needs blockers. Tony breaks a tackle and is ridden out of bounds at the 44 by Dean Hamill. Didn't quite get out of bounds, and the clock continues to run. A gain of 10 that time.
You look back on this football game, should Philadelphia end up losing 21-17, and you're going to really question that flea flicker. You have to run those things when people least expect them, and in a situation like that, that was too much flea and flicker. That should have been a little bit more simpler and get the ball away and not allow the sack.
Especially the way they were moving the ball so effectively.
Best flea flicker I've seen so far is Cunningham going outside and running.
3rd and 15 now.
Offsides.
Cunningham. Open field. Gets by Walton, and Tim Morrison knocks him out of bounds. It'll be a first down if the flag is against Washington.
And it is.
A gain of 16. He needed 15, and Randall Cunningham is now
defense declined. First down.
84 yards rushing for Randall Cunningham on a big play.
There's containment, and when you worry about a scrambling quarterback, you worry about him, and therefore you take people wide, and therefore he can't get out of the pocket. But now he's forced up inside, and lo and behold, he gets loose, and he's as fast as anyone in the secondary, with the exception of Darrell Green at corner.
So the Eagles, thanks to Randall Cunningham, who has gained 34 yards on 2 rushing attempts on this series, have come back from a 2nd and 25 obstacle. 1st and 10 at the Redskin 26, 10.5 minutes to play. Byers cuts inside and gets inside the 20, and a gain of about 8. Charles Mann and Barry Wilburn that time put the seal on.
Last week against St. Louis, Philadelphia went up, had the big lead, gave it back to the Cardinals, gave them the momentum, and then had to take a drive with 70 seconds left to win the game. This looks like that all over again, except we have 10 minutes and counting, where Philadelphia is marching an outstanding drive, led by Cunningham.
Coming into this final quarter, the Redskins had a 4-minute advantage in time of possession, and that might have dissipated. 2nd down and 2. Byers. He's got the first down. Inside the 15, and a penalty marker thrown. Or was it a free ball?
Well,
it was a fumble, and the Eagles recovered.
It was a fumble by Byers, but what happened was the ground made him fumble, and of course we all know that the ground can't do that. Byers coming off, Tony gives him a good kick-out block. He jumps up in the air, hits the ground, and then the ball bounces free, so that's not a fumble.
But it is a first down for the Eagles, who are driving in magnificent fashion. They have a 1st and 10 on the Redskin 13. Plenty of time remaining. 9 minutes. Flip to Anthony Tony. Tony cutting inside and gets close to the 5-yard line.
And talking to Byers, one of the things I asked him was, wasn't required to block. Does he like blocking for Tony now? And he says, I do. He didn't really like it, but he says, I do. We're a team here. We work together.
Manley and Bowles on the stop. And this crowd is at a fevered pitch right now. It'll be second down and 4.
Cunningham outside wide option runner pass.
He's going to throw it, and it's intercepted by Monty Coleman. And Monty Coleman brings it out on a big play, and the Redskin bench goes over to Monty Coleman, who makes a big play to blunt an Eagle rally.
Monty Coleman's second interception. He had an interception against Kelly last week when the Bills were driving. Once again, in the right place at the right time, reads it extremely well. 2 points to make here. If you throw a slant, a quick slant, you have to throw it before the linebacker or once the receiver clears the linebacker.
Eagle turnovers have resulted in 14 Redskin points. Schrader has been struggling today through the air, and the Redskins have not controlled the ball the way they like, but they have 3 interceptions. Wilburn, Bowles, and Monty Coleman snuffed out a touchdown drive that would have given the Eagles the lead, and it's 21-17 with 8:10 to go.
You make a point here. You either throw before or you throw behind.
And now the Redskins on the 24, first and 10. Schrader up the middle, and it's in and out of the hands of Art Monk. Roynell Young was covering on the play. Terry, what about that call, the way they were driving down on that pass play, the play selection on that one?
The greatest threat with Cunningham is outside. When you're down that close, put most pressure on a linebacker in a secondary. When you get him outside, he either pumps, he either runs, or he throws. To stand him back there and have him read so close to the line of scrimmage, there's not enough room. The areas, the zones are cut down. Consequently, you get interceptions.
Russ Grimm was shaken up for the Redskins, their center. Grimm had a sprained knee and came out of the game against the Bills, and actually had an injury against the Eagles in the opening game of the year and came out in the second quarter, and Jeff Bostic may come into the ball game. We'll come back to this. Meanwhile, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
All right, Dick, you gave the score. Here's how the Bears did it now. 4th and goal against the Packers. Walter Payton leaps up over the top and just does break the plane to that goal line. It's a 1-point game right now. It's a dogfight. On the post-game show, we'll have all the highlights of this one. Let's send you back to Dick.
All right, Brent. Well, they say the Bears can't keep coming from behind to win, but they keep coming from behind, and it's a matter of time to see whether they can come back. Meanwhile, Russ Grimm is shaken up, and that would be a huge blow to the Washington Redskins' chances.
One of the things that they wanted to accomplish in their offensive line this year, that being the Washington Redskins, was to get larger men up front. One of the reasons Grimm's in there is because of his size. Now Bostic comes in there, and you'd have to be concerned about the snap, the exchange between the center and the quarterback, but in this case, Schrader's worked with both of them. I don't really expect any problem there.
Well, the big thing about Grimm, who was moved to center this year from guard, was the fact that he is a lot bulkier with McKenzie and Grimm in there, and they had an offensive line that would rival the Giants. That was the plan.
That's what Bugle wanted, and that's what he had until, of course, just now when Grimm went out.
Second down and 10 at the 24.
Problem, but evidently as they fumble the snap, and Roynell Young, 43, comes over and recovers the fumble. There's Bostic. He's got to be upset. I'm sure that they take snaps in practice. That's why I didn't feel like it would be a problem.
Very untimely mix-up. And Randall Cunningham keeps the ball on the ground to Anthony Toney, and Darrell Grant makes the stop. There's the time remaining here in this fourth quarter. The Eagles have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The Redskins 2, a bit early for that, and a 21-17 game.
You know, in a case where a player is injured, such as a center, you would think that Schrader could run to the sideline and he and Bostic could exchange some snaps, but that you can't do that. You have to stay on the playing field, the quarterback that is.
It's not like bringing a relief pitcher in.
Not at all, unless you call timeout.
2nd and 9. Eagles on the Redskin 32.
Blitz.
Is going deep for Mike Quick. He's got him, and it is a touchdown. Reception of the game, and the man he beat was Darrell Green, who last year was renowned as the NFL's fastest man. McFadden with Telchik holding. The kick is good, and the Eagles lead it 24-21.
Ted Plum, offensive coordinator for Philadelphia, said the place to beat Green is to go to the corner. He'll take the inside move. There you see Quick come down, go inside, and back out to the corner of the end zone. Perfectly thrown ball. Well executed route. Touchdown.
32 yards, and the Eagles have taken the lead. Excitement reigns at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. 63,000 plus on hand as the Eagles have scored 17 unanswered points to take the lead over the Washington Redskins, 24-21 with 7:13 to go. Telchik kicking off, and it's Griffin at the 3-yard line for the Redskins. Griffin going outside to the 30-yard line and ridden out of bounds. Good return by Keith Griffin to the 32. It was Telchik, the kicker, who made the stop. But Mike Quick on the receiving end of the 32-yard touchdown play. Quick has caught 2 scores today from Randall Cunningham, who has shaken up the Redskins with his scrambling and running as well.
7 minutes, 3 seconds left now. Jay Schrader has not had a good game. This is a bad situation for a quarterback to try to regain his confidence. Philadelphia Eagles have been blitzing, showing the 46, and Schrader hasn't been sharp.
1st and 10 on the Redskin 32. Play action. Clark in midfield. And Gary Clark in Eagle territory, out of bounds at the 42 by Terry Hogue, and a pickup of 27 solid yards there.
Perfect call. Caught Philadelphia in a zone. You're going to go into a zone, play action deep, and run those big 20-yard deep ends. That way you can throw underneath the safeties and over the linebackers, and this is exactly what Clark and Schrader did.
Clark has caught 4 passes for 72 yards today and went in with a sore hamstring. 1st and 10 at the 41. Ricky Sanders in as the 3rd wide receiver. Schrader going for Art Monk. Just past his reach, and Monk in his disgust kicked the ball into the stands. He had beaten Andre Waters, the strong safety.
Monk, one man-on-man blitz once again. Schrader overthrows his man once again. But the secret here was that Jay Schrader, thinking he didn't have enough time, actually could have held the ball that split second more and got the ball to Monk. But when you've had the interceptions and the bad luck and the pressure that Philadelphia's placed on him today, you don't feel comfortable and you rush things just that little bit, and it's that little bit that costs you.
He has missed just enough to not get really any kind of sink going for himself today.
Well, Philadelphia's done an excellent job of disguising their defenses and confusing them.
Second down and 10 on the Eagle 41. Another play action call, and Schrader chased from the pocket. And incomplete, intended for Don Warren. Downfield.
Has a direct shot at him and throws his left shoulder right at his left shoulder. Now the Redskins are upset, thinking that time that Hogue had thrown the elbow, but indeed it was the shoulder.
Warren will go out of the game, and there has been a change in the offensive line for the Redskins. Raleigh McKenzie has moved to center, and Jeff Bostic has moved to left guard. And you got a glimpse there of Doug Williams, the quarterback who led the Redskins to the victory over the Eagles in the opening game of the year when Schrader was knocked out of action.
And you imagine there's a lot of questions in Washington if the Redskins should lose this game as to whether or not there should have been a quarterback change.
Third down and 10 at the 41. Kelvin Bryant in the lineup. Blitz. And they nearly get him. Reichenbach nearly got Schrader, and the pass is knocked away, incomplete, intended for Art Monk. Defending was Roynell Young, who has played a tremendous game in the secondary for the Eagles, and it'll be fourth down for the Redskins.
The late blitz coming from the outside. You're going to see Schrader as he notices right in the center of your screen. The blitz comes up late. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. 8 guys coming. One's going to be free. Reichenbach is free. 55. Forces Schrader out. He guns the football. The ball is knocked loose.
It's fourth down, and Steve Cox will punt it. Bobby Morse will let it fly. And the Redskins can't keep it in play, and the crowd cheers that maneuver. A 41-yard punt by Cox. And with 6:24 to go, the Eagles have the lead by 3 points and the ball when we come back to Veterans Stadium. Next Sunday, the NFL Today starts it off at 12:30 Eastern. Dallas, New England. That's a tremendous matchup up at Foxborough. The Cowboys will try to press the Redskins, who will be home against Detroit. The Rams and the Cardinals will go at it. One of these teams want to gain respectability. That's the first half of our doubleheader. Some of you will see the Giants and Eagles. Others, the Saints and the 49ers in an NFC West battle. Now, the question is for the Eagles, with the lead for the first time since the beginning of the ball game, do you go too conservative? How do you play it the way you've been going? What?
Well, that's a good question, Dick. I would like to think that they're going to try to run the football, but I expect them to get Cunningham outside again. They've been able to run with Tony going up inside now. I think they'll try that again, and then they're going to get Cunningham outside.
Would you try a gimmick play now?
No, absolutely not.
To get the midfield?
Exactly. This is not a time for gimmicks. If you can get out, say, pick up 2 or 3 first downs, and you really feel the momentum coming your way, yeah, maybe you try it, but right now, no.
Okay. Eagles come out at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Buddy Ryan said he'd have to pull out all the stops. We haven't seen all the stops. Close, though. Byers gets nothing on 1st down.
Okay, the thing that's happened right off the bat is that Washington has come up, Dick, and showed Philadelphia that they're going to play them with man coverage and send the linebackers, blitzing the linebackers. Good time now to get Cunningham out and then try the deep pass. If you see that, you have to take what a defense gives you. Just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean you do it. You have to take what they give you, and they're giving him the deep ball.
There's Mann and Conwell matched up. 2nd down and 11. Byers gets the call again. Cuts inside and gets a few and brings it out to the 23-yard line. There's the time remaining here, and Redskins have 2 timeouts remaining. Bowles and Kaufman on the stop. Pittsburgh and Kansas City locked up in a tight one, as are the Cardinals and the Buccaneers. Boy, St. Louis has come from way back. Cardinals scored 4 touchdowns in the last quarter. San Diego has come from behind to beat the Colts. Minnesota leading the Raiders. Green Bay, Chicago going down to the wire. And underway, Detroit and Dallas. 3rd down and 7 at the 23. And a whistle, and let's see if the 30-second clock had run down.
Delay, offense, third down.
So it is still third down, and now they'll back it up to the 18-yard line. Make it 3rd and 12.
Before a young football team gets good, their defense is normally leading the way. Today, that's exactly what's happened with the exception, of course, of Quick's big catches and Cunningham scrambling. Right now, I believe Buddy Ryan is very content in feeling that his defense can handle Washington, therefore the conservative calls on the first 2 plays.
Probably won't do anything rash now. 3rd and 12. The pass is caught by Tony, and Wilburn wraps him up at the 22-yard line. And that will create a 4th down. John Telchik will come in and kick.
Downfield.
And a penalty marker. See whether an ineligible receiver was downfield on that play.
Ineligible, number 67, downfield, declined, 4th down.
Jerry Feary, the center, penalty is declined, and so Telchik will boot it from about the 10. There is Feary, 5-year veteran from Syracuse. Eric Yarber goes back for the Redskins on his own 40-yard line. So Buddy Ryan has confidence in his defense. Going to find out how much he has coming up in the next series. How much is genuine?
Players are counting everyone. Look at that, pointing fingers, counting, making sure they had their man.
They got it off in time. Oh! And a great kick by Telchik sends Yarber back to the 25. And down he goes. Big play of the game. John Telchik's kick from the 10. And no return. Jonathan Dumball making the tackle. And with 4:07 to go, the Redskins go back to work. They need a field goal to tie this game. And we want to remind you again, we have quite a matchup coming up next Saturday on CBS. 13th ranked Alabama, big winners over LSU against Notre Dame. Great comeback yesterday against BC.
Notre Dame and BC had them down, and they came back in the 4th quarter and won the game, and Alabama took care of LSU down at Baton Rouge.
2 hot teams next week on CBS. Right here on 1st down.
Oh.
Kelvin Bryant gets hit hard by Jerome Brown.
Jerome Brown's a madman. The old counter gap play, but Jerome Brown literally got in the guard's hip pocket and used the guard to make the stop. He didn't tackle him. He threw the guard in there, and the guard made the tackle. They say Jerome Brown, if he had one problem coming out of Miami, was he was never criticized, kind of babied. He's a little bit lazy, and he doesn't like to work. But if you can get him mad, looks like he's mad now. Looks like he's a pretty good football player.
I'd say so. 2nd and 10 on the Redskin 26. Schrader has Monk. Monk tries to get away, but he can't, and is stopped at the 40 by Roynell Young. Good enough, though, for a Redskin 1st down and a pickup of 14.
Credit Schrader here with the gun that he has and making this completion possible. Very few quarterbacks can throw a ball 30 yards on a line and beat a defense. Roynell Young, 43, laying off of Monk. There's the gun. There's the fine hands that Monk displays. Gets the 1st down for Washington.
Under 3 minutes to go, and Monk with 5 catches, 81 yards. This is his best game of the season. At the 40, Redskin territory. Schrader is going deep, and once again, a familiar scene just past the outstretched arms of Art Monk, and Andre Waters was covering on the play.
Only 2 players out, well, actually 3. Sanders went out in the flat. Monk went deep, took 2 men with him, and forced the strong safety that time to cover Clark man for man.
Kind of day that Jay Schrader would like to forget. 13 for 42 and a pair of interceptions.
Well, he had the shoulder injury, missed the 1st game. It's his 3rd game back. He hasn't been as accurate as he would like, and you got to feel like his shoulder's not 100%, and he's not really into the floor yet. He's really in preseason. 3 or 4 more games, and he'll be back to where he used to be.
Keep in mind, though, that he has trailed coming into the final quarter 14 times, and he has rallied the Redskins to win on 8 of those occasions. So he's a come-from-behind quarterback. 2nd and 10.
Audible.
Back at the 40. Schrader has Bryant. Good juke by Bryant and gets the first down before going out of bounds in Eagle territory at the 47. Andre Waters on the stop. A gain of 13, and it was Bryant who got the first down on his own.
It's amazing to me how you put a quarterback or any player in a situation that he is very comfortable in. Schrader's comfortable in coming from behind. He's comfortable in adverse conditions. Today he hasn't thrown the ball well. Missed a lot of deep passes. Had a lot of blitz pressure on him today. Makes an audible here, crucial audible. Gets outside, first down.
Keith Griffin has come in the game for the first time in the backfield for the Redskins, who have a 1st and 10 at the Eagle 47, and Philadelphia will call a timeout.
Philadelphia doesn't like, Wade Phillips doesn't like the matchup he had. Cedric Brown, 23, coming in, now coming out, now going back in. Wasn't the matchup that they wanted.
Each team with 2 timeouts left, and Reichenbach is getting an earful from Buddy Ryan here.
Buddy Ryan said that this man picked up our 46 better than anyone I've ever had at middle linebacker. Evidently, though, he didn't do a good job on that play.
How much from almost every direction. He now feels he has the Eagles where he wants them, and he is 236 away from scoring, as he told you, maybe the biggest victory of his coaching career, and a chance to get to 500, knocking off Washington.
This is only his 2nd year here. He cleaned house last year. I would think Buddy Ryan has done a fine job here in Philadelphia. I don't see where the pressure should come from. If anything, he should be at ease, because this team, in my opinion, is farther along than they ever would have been.
Unusual methods, but it looks as if those methods have worked.
He's not well liked by a lot of people, and it's only because he's brutally honest, and we Americans have a hard time dealing with people that tell us exactly how we feel to our face.
Each team with 2 timeouts left. 1st and 10 Redskins on the Eagle 47. They need 3 to tie. Schrader unlimbers it, and wide open is Gary Clark, who scores the touchdown. And the Redskins go wild. 47 yards to a wide open Gary Clark. And now it's the Eagles who must answer this punctuated scoring drive by the Redskins.
How can it be? How can it be? How can you miss so many people all day long, and then in the closing 2 minutes and 30 seconds, hit the big one that wins the game? Clark made a hitch. As you can see, when he made the hitch, the safety bit for the ball. Young bit for it. He went down deep. Wide open. Easy throw, easy catch, touchdown.
Gary Clark with 5 receptions and 119 yards has given the Redskins the lead again at 27-24. Ali Haji Sheikh with a very important conversion coming up. And the kick is no good. It's off to the left. The kick is no good. One of the Eagles may have gotten a piece of it. And instead of a 4-point lead, the Redskin lead is 3, 27-24. And now the Eagles can tie it up with a 3-pointer.
Right up the middle appears, coming from the outside. No, it's right up the middle. I believe it's Jerome Brown, 99, who gets his hands up and gets a piece of the football and knocks it wide. Let's take a look again.
May have been Simmons.
96 is Simmons to the right of your screen. Simmons, White, and Brown all coming in there. 2 sets of hands goes up. Oh, it is Simmons, 96, right hand.
So Clyde Simmons, who blocked a field goal the last 2 weeks and also blocked a conversion against the Cardinals. He blocked a field goal against the Dallas Cowboys, and he is becoming a man you're going to have to watch on the films, because the magic of Clyde Simmons continues today.
Well, last week, Randall Cunningham was voted NFC Player of the Week, and the week before that, Clyde Simmons was voted Defensive Player of the Week.
Redskins lead is 3, 27-24, and that mixed extra point could loom large with 2:29 to go. Redskins' only loss this year was to Atlanta by 1 point on a missed extra point. Cox kicking off to Bobby Morse. Morse at the 5. Tripped up at the 22-yard line. Making the play for the Redskins is Reggie Branch. 2:19 to go. The Eagles have 2 timeouts remaining.
Randall Cunningham come into the game, the best experience he's ever had as a quarterback was last week against St. Louis when he brought his team from behind in the closing seconds threw a touchdown pass to Garrity and won the game. He now says to himself, I've done it before, I can do it again.
Eagles on their own 23. He knows he'll get some pressure. Fakes a pass. Anthony Toney out of the backfield. Fights his way to the 25-yard line. Coleman and Mann making the stop. It may come down to Paul McFadden's foot to try to send this game into overtime. And we wind down to the 2-minute warning. A thriller here at Veterans Stadium. And a player is hurt, so the clock is at 2:02, and one of the Redskins is shaken up. So hold on. And while we have a moment, we want to remind you, as they attend to the injured Redskin, tonight on CBS starts with 60 Minutes. Tennis at a federal prison, you haven't seen the half of it, but you will tonight on 60 Minutes. And following 60 Minutes, it's Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury, followed by the CBS Sunday movie Kids Like These, starring Tyne Daly and Richard Crenna. That's coming up tonight here on CBS. Still don't know for sure who the injured Redskin is, and we're not going to guess. But what a game.
Well, this is a great game. It's had all the suspense. We've had the boxing where they've kind of, take a little pop and counter pop and big plays, miss big plays, everything. And now it boils down once again to Cunningham, whether or not he can take the Eagles down and score.
Let's see the end of the play and see if we can figure out who the injured Redskin player is. Well, it's
Monty Coleman, number 51. Coming at the top of your screen, Coleman plants the left leg, cuts back inside. Looks like he has his head down low.
And it's Coleman who has a...
Yeah, that's what it looks like. He's got his bell rung, had his head down, had his head tucked, and Tony ran right into him.
Meanwhile, all this does is make things...
Kickers in cases like this, situations, realizing they may be called on. You do things... You just do something. In this case, McFadden's just sitting down because what that tells 63,000 people here is that I'm cool, I've got it under control, call on me, I'll pop that baby in there.
And it looks like Coleman is cool now as he gets up. Seems to be all right as they walk him off the field. We talked about all the different weird plays we've seen today. We've had 7 turnovers, 3 by the Redskins, 2 interceptions, Jerome Brown and Roynell Young. And 3 interceptions by Philadelphia, by the Redskins against Cunningham. 2nd down and 8 at the 25-yard line. Cunningham gets by Marcus Cook. Fires to Totalatazzi. He's got a first down to the 36. Gain of 11 and great second effort by Totalatazzi. And now we have our 2-minute warning with 1:49 showing on the clock. Dick Stockton and Terry Bradshaw back here. We've had our 2-minute warning. Waiting in the wings is Paul McFadden, whose three-pointer, if it comes to that, could send this game into overtime. There's the timeout story. Monty Coleman, who was shaken up a moment ago, is back in the lineup for the Redskins. 1st and 10 after Totalatazzi made a key catch at the Eagle 36. Inside handoff to Toney. Bounces off a defender, and Anthony Toney gets close to midfield on a sensational exhibition of running. 13 yards. And the Eagles line up in a hurry. Morrison on the stop. Big game for Anthony Toney. Cunningham has Toney as a receiver, and Toney bites his way out of bounds, may have another first down. Wilburn covering there, and the clock stops. 1:23 to go, and now McFadden starts to tighten the shoes.
That's right. Toney, 2nd-round draft choice kid, showing you everything tonight. Quick moves as a fullback, extra hard running, a good receiver out of the backfield. He's given them everything they need today to get this football down in scoring position.
And when I say tighten the shoes, I mean the left one, because he doesn't have one on the right foot. Into Redskin territory at the 40-yard line. 1st and 10. Eagles still have 2 timeouts left. midfield and smartly throws the ball away, and that's something that young quarterbacks don't always do early in their careers.
When we talked to Buddy Ryan about Randall Cunningham's performance last week against St. Louis, and that thing that impressed him the most, and he said the thing that impressed me the most was when he threw the football away. 17 for 30, 229 yards. In the slot once again was Quick. He's got to see that. Quick came across the middle, wide open for big yardage that time.
Cunningham had hit 5 in a row before that incompletion. Greg Garrity is wide to the left. 2 wide receivers to the right. 2nd and 10. Cunningham is going deep for Garrity in the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown pass to put the Eagles in front. If they hold it, he'll be a hero for the 2nd week in a row. Paul McFadden. And this is an important conversion. It's good.
2 things important here, Dick, that made this happen. Cunningham's ability to get outside, but the smart thing was done by Garrity as he goes down, makes his move inside, back outside, sees Cunningham scrambling, and now turns it up the field for the end zone. Cunningham throwing on the run, nails him, and then Garrity, with outstanding hands at Penn State, makes a fantastic catch.
A 40-yard touchdown play. Greg Garrity caught the winner last week, a 9-yarder with 40 seconds left. And here's what happened. Last week, a 9-yard scoring pass from Cunningham. And that was his 2nd touchdown ever. His first touchdown ever. Guess who threw it? Terry Bradshaw. December 10th, 1983. Steelers against the Jets. Terry Bradshaw finds Greg Garrity. Greg Garrity makes the catch for the Steelers. And Pittsburgh beat the Jets 34-7. And Terry, that was one of your last touchdown passes, huh?
That was my last game. I played 1 quarter, and he caught my next to last touchdown pass of my career. He always had the hands, and the Steelers, for some reason or another, got rid of him. Philadelphia's glad they did.
On the ground, Terry Orr picks it up for the Redskins and barrels it back with 1:02 showing on the clock. So now Greg Garrity has caught 3 touchdown passes in his career, and this may be the biggest of them all.
Well, he's running a route. He's got man-for-man coverage, as you can tell, outside. Timmy Morrison in the place of Barry Wilburn. Goes in, goes out. Now he says Cunningham's scrambling. Now a good wide receiver will do exactly this. He will turn it for the end zone, because if it's a big pass, it can either be an interference call on the 5-yard line or a touchdown, and that's what he got.
But this game isn't over. If you're the Washington Redskins, you've come back. And if you're Jay Schrader, you brought him back. 1st and 10, Redskins on their own 34 with 1:02 remaining. They have 2 timeouts left. Schrader. Kelvin Bryant got clobbered. And a fine play by the free safety, Terry Hogue, number 34.
Terry Hogue simply standing deep, reading Schrader's eyes. Schrader goes to the right. Hogue, being a free safety, has the responsibility to go to the football. That time, not a very well-thrown ball by Schrader. Looked as though it slipped. It wasn't a tight spiral.
There's the timeout story. The Redskins are on their own 34-yard line. 2nd down and 10. And this series could be a big step in the surge of the Philadelphia Eagles this year and in the future. Schrader in trouble. Fires it, and it's caught by Bryant. And it's a fumble, and it's recovered by Philadelphia. Mike Pitts makes the recovery. jumping in Philadelphia. The Eagles have the lead and now the ball.
Well, as you can see, a simple four-man rush. Schrader steps up in the pocket, then steps out to avoid Pitts' rush. Gets outside, finds Bryant. Bryant fumbles, Pitt recovers.
Mike Pitts with the fumble recovery. 8 turnovers in the game, and this was number 8.
As you can see, Bryant simply just a checkoff valve, just someone to help Schrader out of trouble. There's the completion, and there's the fumble.
Andre Waters made the hit. And the Eagles, with 46 seconds to go, trying to seal off a 31-27 game. Terry, this is interesting as the Redskins call a timeout. You remember what happened against Dallas when Randall Cunningham faked a kneel and then threw a long pass. Of course, that was against Dallas, and it was bad blood between Buddy Ryan and the Cowboys. Well, we want to thank some people for their role in bringing you this broadcast today. And what an exciting football game here in Philadelphia. Keep in mind that the Redskins at one point had a 21-7 lead. And then the Eagles came back with 17 unanswered points. The big 47-yarder to Clark, missed conversion, but it didn't mean much the way Cunningham brought him back.
This game serves notice to the rest of the National Football League. I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles have found themselves. The next 2 games are here at home. And the teams coming in here are going to realize this place will be packed, and this town is excited about the offense and the defense that Ryan's put together.
40 seconds remaining. And now the Redskins call their last timeout of the ball game. So the Redskins went into this ball game with a 6-1 record. No one with a better mark, looking for their 6th in a row, and instead the Philadelphia Eagles will appear to come out of this with their 3rd straight victory, the first time in the last 2 years, and a chance to even their record at 4 wins and 4 losses.
Buddy Ryan said, coming off of last week's game, we have enough emotion stored up. We certainly didn't use it, and they've used it today. And it's been to their benefit as they've risen to the occasion, and it looks like they're going to win this game, 31-27.
Let's take a look now at the NFC standings in the Eastern Division. And we started the day giving the Eagles the victory. They will be now 2 games behind the Redskins. The Cowboys are playing the Detroit Lions. And the rest of the division, they may not catch Washington, but they could be a playoff contender the rest of the way. And now the final seconds will tick off. The Chicago Bears, down 24-23, have kicked a 52-yard field goal and lead 26-24, and it's over. The Bears have won, so the Bears now have the best record in the NFC, pending the San Francisco 49ers. At 7-1, the Redskins dropped to 6-2, and the Eagles with a tremendous victory, 31-27. So for Terry Bradshaw, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Final score 31-27. Post-game show coming up next. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.